Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We have the prayer and the pledge by Councilwoman Deidre Ledbetter.
At the start of each day, help us to recognize you above all else. Enlighten the eyes of our heart that we might see you and notice how you're at work in our lives. Give us the wisdom to make the best choices. Fill us with a desire to seek after you more than anything else in this world. Lift your spirit and empower, breathe in us, through us, fresh and new. Thank you that you are greater than anything that we may face in our lives. Thank you that your presence goes with us and that your joy is never dependent on our circumstances, but it is our true and everlasting strength, no matter what we're up against. We ask that your peace lead us, that it would guard our hearts and minds in you. We ask for your grace to cover our lives today and every day. We love you, Lord. We need you. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas.
Present.
Councilmember Brooke Marcotte. Here. Councilmember Marlon Lewis.
Here.
Councilmember David Broussard. Councilmember Deidre Ledbetter.
Here.
Councilmember Dee Dee Johnson-Reed. Here. Councilmember Dustin Sweer.
Here.
Thank you. Our first item is public comment. At this time, I ask you to please put your phones on vibrate. Remember, you have 3 minutes to speak, and there's no back and forth. We just listen and don't comment. Madam Clerk? Nope. Got a number.
Brian Gotro for agenda item 8A.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council.
Good evening.
I'm here to address agenda item number 8A, the Cleco, proposed Cleco electrical franchise agreement. With regard to the electrical utility in the city, I've made some observations and am concerned about the number of electrical outages in good weather. Please note that I reside in an area of underground lines. I'm also concerned about the lack of sufficient street lighting where I live, as are my neighbors who are concerned about safety, or whose issue is safety. I'm concerned about the leaning light post supported by a sinking cement pad down the street from me. I'm concerned about the aged electrical poles about the city, which are not fully upright. I'm concerned about the hodgepodge placement of electric poles about the city. These are only the areas readily visible. What about the other significant parts of the city's electrical infrastructure, such as transformers? In my opinion, in your current consideration of a renewed franchise agreement, the contract, from the city's point of view, should place emphasis on a modern, up-to-date, hardened, storm, hurricane-resistant infrastructure, which is well maintained throughout the 25 years of the contract, and at the same time providing for economy to the residents and to the city. For example, stipulations in the contract could include not only the required improvements to the infrastructure, but also a timetable for accomplishing the same and penalties for failure to do so. Just as the city, in addition, I would add, just as the city employs experts and engineers for various public works projects, be it for drainage or street improvements, I would suggest to you all that you employ an electrical engineer whose expertise in electrical infrastructure would best be able to advise you as to what additional requirements should be placed in the contract. If you do it for something as elementary as a $500,000 public works project, why wouldn't you do it for a contract which binds the city and the city for 25 years? Thank you.
Thank you.
Raymond Shudu Lewis for agenda item 8A.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor, while I'm up here, can I first address agenda item 3B? It's going to be the CEO of the foundation, and she should be
so-
here within the next 30 minutes.
So you double dipping, okay.
No. She's going to handle that.
Good.
I'm here to speak on the agenda item 8A. I don't know if y'all realize it or not. Through the budget process, y'all should have come across it. This city spends over $500,000 for street lights. When I was a council member, I had a fad for street lights. I'd get up early in the morning. I'd go maybe 9, 10 till it get dark, shining lights on Main Street, turning into people's driveway, hoping not to get shot. I knew Daisy that worked in Pineville. I knew Charlotte, Lisa, and Betty. That was my regulars. They said, Mr. Shudu, how many you got tonight? And I still do so because it bothers me. That amount of money Public Works could be spending on roads, sidewalks, or whatever the director and the mayor would see appropriate. Cleco is not doing nowhere close to what it needs to be doing. Customer service is sorry. When you call the 1-800 number during the daytime, they tell you 30 minutes, an hour. Who in the hell gonna wait 30 minutes to an hour to report something? Then I have, some years ago, I spoke to Mr. Bourgeois, however it's pronounced. He tells me, and I'm not attacking him there. I spoke to him,
It's all good.
and I told him the service then was going to hell. He said, oh, no, I don't believe that. Well, if you had to look at all those lights, I've called in 2 and 3 times, the same location. 2 and 3 times. It's getting where I'm ashamed to call Miss Upton. I call and leave it on her voicemail because I'm calling the same thing. The only thing was supposed to happen when these foreigners bought was whatever corporate and not affecting and impacting us in the way that it's impacting us. You got all these street lights out with all that's going on around here, and I mean it's all around the city. It is ridiculous. Y'all need to be, what I would ask y'all to do is y'all need performance before y'all negotiate anything else because they have dropped the ball. They have dropped the ball in this city. And we're one of maybe their biggest contractor for service. So we need to use our weight to get the things we need to have done. Because all these street lights, it used to take 3 to 5 business days. That's days of them talking. That's Betty talking, Pineville office. And it would get done. Now it's taken a month, 2 months. When they first came here, I had a list of items for a printout. I had 48 lights that were out. And it took them a month or until they were coming before you to do anything. Customer service is horrible. So I don't think y'all, Cleco, is doing a good job. and keep it in mind, we're probably your largest consumer or franchise y'all deal with. Y'all got to do more than what y'all doing. Other than that, I would ask suspend their franchise fee on the customers. If you can't take care of your business, suspend your franchise fee on the customers. Cleco. But if I was y'all, you guys, I wouldn't be renegotiating no contract at this point, and you got 3 years left on it. Why do it now? It don't make no sense to me, not even common sense. Why fool with them now? You're going to negotiate, tell them what you need them to be doing, putting your street lights up. They got the one on the corner right there, 530 in front of Holden and Slavin. That light, I don't know if y'all noticed how long, the last about 2 months, y'all been coming to meeting, that light's been out. I say Bank Street and East Main, they don't get it. I say 530 East Main to the left, they still haven't gotten it. Brenda's Diner, 411 West Persian Street, across from that address. I bust a tire turning, making a U-turn and hit a culvert. Bust a brand new tire, had to go buy another tire in front of it. 702 East Persian Street, in front of that address. 910 Ann Street, to the right of that address. I can go on and on and on. They're not doing it. And I understand the citizens need to call, but a lot of them don't know where to call. And if you got to call and wait 30 minutes, 31 minutes to an hour, who going to hold on that long? I don't feel it's totally the city's or the citizens, taxpayers' obligation to be running down them street lights. Why don't you send a crew? Y'all make enough money off the city, send a crew every once a month and just ride the whole city. Do it by districts. Get what you can, But customer service sucks.
Thank you.
Benjamin Myers for agenda item 8A.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Evening.
Listen, I'm here to speak about the Cleco contract. Of course, you know this. To begin with, the council, the city council, did not authorize the mayor to start negotiations with Cleco, period. All right? He's took it upon himself. Apparently, that's what he said, and that's not in order. That's not the process, and that's not how it goes. And this is not an extension for those who might be concerned. This is a renewal. The word extension is probably being used to try to circumvent this going back to the voters that it did in the year 2000. All right? Now, the specifics of the contract. We don't have any specifics. We got same thing that we used the last time, and I would suggest that we get us a corporate attorney who's familiar with corporate negotiations and have them to assist us in drafting this petition, particularly when we want specifics. We want, like, for example, I would say one of the specifics I would make sure is included in the contract, that we be not charged no more than 6 cents per kilowatt hour for residents, no more than 7 cents per kilowatt hour for commercial. All right? We want that to stand throughout the duration of the term of the contract. Not 20 years, not 25. I'm hoping that we can deal with them, and you're all in a position to say, well, we'll do it for 10 years under these terms. All right? And don't forget, this is not an extension. This is a renewal, all right, and it should be classified as such. Now, when it comes to what we should do at this point, I suggest that we go and try to get a delegation together and get up to the Public Service Commission to one of their meetings and see if we can maybe lobby them and ask them to have Cleco roll back these rates. They might have just granted them, allowed an increase, but I'm sure they wasn't positive that Cleco was going to be trying to get at least 10 cents per kilowatt hour off of the citizens, You could tell by the base pay. So we want to pull that back, all right? We want to take this tier level system completely off, all right? Take it out altogether, put all the specifics in that we need over here, all right? Now, upon going to this meeting, we make sure we send in somebody, and we might even, again, I might suggest to hire a corporate attorney who know how to deal with corporate negotiations and draft corporate contracts in our behalf. All right? These are the things that we should be paying attention to, and these are the things that we should do to go forward. Come on, you guys, y'all saying your prayers in here every night by God. God giving us the opportunity to do this. We got 2 years. We got 2 years to work it through whatever court system, whatever hearings, whatever meetings that we need to make sure we do this right for our citizens. And I'll tell you all, I've been surveying the citizens in every district is not comfortable with those rates that we're getting from Cleco. And they think, and they said, our city council people and members should be doing more to fight for us to bring these rates down. All right, we don't want to give the appearance that we favor in Cleco, like dig up some information about something from 100 years ago, talking about, well, that's what it was then. Well, sounds like we're working for Cleco right there. Now, let's talk about this bribe that we're not giving attention to that we should be. This is not a signing bonus. Y'all can start getting creative all you want with these words to try to justify this bribe. It's not. We were offered in 2000 $1 million. I classified it as a bribe then, and it still is now. But mysteriously, and by the way, it went to the voters first with a contract all drafted for 20 years, right? 20 years is what the voters agreed to. Mysteriously, here come 5 more years. Where did the extension come from? And at the exact same time, that $1 million that they had offered as a bribe was reduced to $750,000, according to what Freddie says, right? I would like to know what happened to the other $250,000. Maybe we can ask our city attorney, who was part of those negotiations then, what happened to that? All right? So, again, let's look at this realistically. We need to go before this Public Service Commission, send a delegation up to lobby for these fixed rates, to specify exactly what we want. You understand? We also need to address and find out from them as far as for what this so-called pass-on costs. Y'all ready? Had Kevin go dig it up. How much are we getting in the franchise fee? 1.3 million, right? Well, y'all, that 1.3 million come out of your pocket. All right? Quote unquote, they classify it as a pass-on, right? We want to find out how legitimate that is. You understand? And if we want to use that as part of our tool in negotiating to reduce those bills. Okay? Now, anything else that we might see fit to do between now and then, you know, when put our think tank together and put our heads on straight and get us a corporate attorney to do our bidding for us and work with it like we should, I think that we should pull back from this right now. Don't even move forward at all. Give this delegation, I'm hoping Ms. Ledbetter, she said that she would like to go before the Public Service Commission to get to some of those meetings, and I'm sure a couple of other you guys, Marlon, Ms. Marcotte, and Dee Dee, I don't know who else might want to go, to make sure that we're getting the best deal possible, to make sure that if there is a way for us to ensure that those rates are reduced to 6 cents per kilowatt hour for resident and 7 cents per kilowatt hour for commercial, then we should do that and have it ironclad and make that, all that verbiage, a part of these contracts. You understand? This is what we should be doing. Now, the 10-year thing, you know, I heard you say, Justin, about what if we go with 10 years, then next thing they're going to do, they're not going to be giving us proper service, or they're not going to handle business right. Well, if they make that mistake, Justin, they will be deregulated by that same Public Service Commission and forced to sell off whatever they classify, quote unquote, as their infrastructure. All right, so we don't have that worry. That's not a scare tactic. We don't have that to worry about. We need this time, you all. This time, this 2 years, we need this time to get it right. All right, because as of right now, it's not right. All right, right from the very beginning, you're being misled to believe it's an extension instead of contract renewal. Again, I don't know if that's trying to circumvent it going back to the voters. All right, because like I said, we had the verbiage, everything in the contract written down, in place, bring it to the voters to see if this was good enough to give Cleco a 20-year contract. And again, mysteriously, yes, the voters, okay, we agreed. We voted to go with Cleco for 20 years. Yeah, when you look again, it's 25 years. All right? This extension is mysteriously appeared again, and the bribe money. What happened to it? Where is the other $250,000? All right? These are the things that we need to be paying attention to right now. But first and foremost, we need to back this off, get to the Public Service Commission, find out what we can negotiate, what prices we have that we can list in this contract that we are proposing to do with Cleco, and quote unquote for a renewal. This is not an extension. I think that verbiage in your word was used to circumvent it going back to the voters. That's some of these sharp people that we know, huh? But again, this is what we should be doing, all right? So we can put the brakes on this, and trust me, when it comes down to these other mishandling of things, well, there might come a point where it calls for a federal investigation into corruption when it comes down to those things. When it comes down to Cleco, Cleco is allowed to donate to people's campaigns. But I'd be damned if the law allowed them to go around bribing citizens and cities to get the contract. Again, let's get before the Public Service Commission, you all. Talk to them, see what exact price we're gonna be quoting in that contract, and live by it for the term of the contract, and be done with it. Thanks for your time. Anything else that I might have to say, I'm sure we'll be having another meeting on this coming soon.
Thank
Thank you, guys.
Madam Clerk, item 2A.
Acceptance of the minutes of January 3rd, 2023, which will publish on January 18th, 2023.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas and a second by Councilman Marlon Lewis. Is there any discussion about our minutes of January the 3rd? Hearing, seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank you. Item 3A.
Redistricting update by Cedric Floyd, President, Data Center LLC.
Hello, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Oh, how nice, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Happy we got that. Good, good, yeah.
We understand maps.
We've had a lot of map discussions.
Thank you.
All right, man, no extra charge.
Thank you. I'm gonna fold it. Thank you, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor. and
Good evening.
City Council members. Thank you for giving Data Center LLC the opportunity to redistrict. It's been just about a year that we had the workshop, successful workshop, and we were able to sit as a family and come up with a plan that's reflective of the city of New Iberia, in which I'm proud of, and you should be too. So tonight on the agenda is introduction, and we'll be back on February 7th with a full presentation. And also, Ms. Laney, I'm gonna send you a PDF of the map, and this should be appendix to the ordinance that's gonna be introduced, those stats I gave you, the population summary, the plan component, and the map. This is a map that, for everybody. And like I say, I look forward to seeing you on February the 7th. Okay? Thank you. Thank you. That's it. And I'll make a full presentation at the public hearing on February the 7th. Thank you very much. You here?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Any questions, comments? Yeah, before we let you go, any questions or comments?
Can I get my people back?
That's funny.
As we're reviewing it, excuse me, can I?
Oh, sure.
As we're reviewing it before February, if we have any questions, can we email them to you?
Please, yes,
Or
yes.
to the
Or
man?
call me. My phone number is on the map. Yes, sir. And this is exactly what we worked on March 29th last year. And like I say, I'm getting the chance to meet everybody for the first time. I think we had masks, and we were half ducking in the whole situation. So y'all look, like I was telling y'all, look beautiful without the mask in the situation. Okay. But anyway, yes. If you have a question, any concerns or whatever, please call me 24/7. Thank you. Here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Madam Clerk? Yeah. 3B.
I got a question for,
Okay, good. I'm making sure. Yeah, you got a question? Sure.
real quick, the maps we got tonight, that the changes have been made, they don't go into effect till after.
To after the next election
Okay, after
for
the next
qualifying,
election.
and then when you get right to after the next election.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
They do work for qualifying or after qualifying?
For qualifying,
In other words,
for qualifying, you qualify on a new plan, and
qualify
then
on the new
and
plan.
then when your first day in office, you own a new plan.
right.
I got
They're,
you.
they're effective when
qualify.
everyone runs again.
Yes.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, so when the voters go, like Marlon and I, our boundaries changed.
Yes.
They will vote for District Two, the
Yes,
people that I
in
lost.
the new boundary. And you see what we're gonna do, once we adopt this, it's all finished, then we're gonna hire a firm who did city maps for us before, and we're gonna actually print some new city maps.
Okay,
And I would want those to be out soon enough that we don't have the issue of, worried about where our boundaries are and
Right.
everyone understands, and we have time to educate everybody before that election.
And Mayor, I could send you the map,
Yeah,
whatever.
well, that's
Either-
awesome.
Yeah, right. Or, so the map here
Good.
is you could duplicate or whatever
Yes.
you want to do or whatever.
Good.
But I'm gonna send, and it's gonna have the ordinance number on the map that once we adopt it.
Okay. Good.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And we had one annexation since the process started,
Yes,
which
you're
is
right.
not taken into account with this change,
Okay.
because this change had already begun.
Right. There's no
Right,
voters on it, but it's
Yeah.
commercial,
No
but
voters,
still.
but we need to incorporate that too.
100%. And what happens when it comes down to annexation, it goes to the nearest district where it's located at, because the census is a snapshot of New Iberia, April 1st, 2020. So anybody was born on April 2nd is not part of the 2020 census. Anybody who died, so after that, so this is a snapshot of April 1st, 2020, when we were locked down because of COVID. So it's going to be some additions to it.
And there was nobody to count anyway,
Right.
no people. no
100%,
voters.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
We're
Thank
good.
you. All right. Madam Clerk, 3B.
Ms. Tyra, CEO of the Garen Paul Atkinson Lewis Foundation, to address the council regarding National Mentoring Month 2023.
Great.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Tyra McWhirter. For the ones who don't know, I am the CEO of the Garen Paul Atkinson Lewis Foundation. I'm also the director of the New Iberia and Abbeville Teen Court. We're here today asking the city to recognize January as National Mentoring Month. We do mentoring within our organization. We have the guys mentoring, which is called Gents. And we have the girls mentoring, Sister to Sister, Miracle Talk, and Girls Determined to Change. I wish I could come up here and talk how I really wanted to talk. I was excited about what we was gonna do in January. January the 8th, a 15-year-old was shot down in the streets. He was a part of our organization. January the 9th, he died. 1 o'clock on January the 9th, I quit. I can't do this no more. It hurts. I'm here to help these kids, and I do as much as I can. January the 9th, about 2 o'clock, I'm back. Now we have a 14-year-old found dead, possibly killed by another 14-year-old. The 15-year-old died, possibly by another 15-year-old. I need the council, anybody, to pick up gun violence as an issue in New Iberia. It's an issue. Nobody has picked it up. Nobody said, let me take charge and run with this. GPL Foundation can't do it alone, but we will. I'm not gonna stop here and say, this is my last plea. Well, this will be my last plea, but we're gonna come up with something. I have Mr. Kerry, I call him everything else. He has been a big help to me. On the shootings, he's there when I can't be there. The guys he talked to, he really, really, really talked to. The young man that died Sunday, I used to call him soft serve ice cream. He was a kid, having fun. And to be shot down the way he was shot down is unfair to him, his sister, his brother, his mother, his grandmother. It affected the entire community. On Monday, I had a session. I really thought I was gonna have to call the ambulance for some of these kids. They was hysterically crying. We just left them. We was playing basketball. We dropped them off. This is an issue that we need to, as a council, take on. I mean, I'm not gonna twist your arm, but I really do think this is something. We have to stand up, the community. Right now, I think they're having a community event to talk about this. This is something nobody picked up. I'm gonna pick it up. I have Mr. Kerry here. What I love about Kerry, he ain't scared to go in the streets. Me and him can run together. Sometimes we shouldn't, but we do. 4 o'clock in the morning, my phone rings. Parent is in distress. We had one the other night, 12 o'clock. Parent in distress. I have at least 7 families packing up to move, fearing for their kids' life. I wish I could say District 2, District 5 is my problem. In every district, we have a gang. I think I told Chief I don't like to call them gangs, but they do. In every district. 2 and 5 is my hot spot, but in every district. So my plea is, let's recognize it as National Mentoring Month. Let's go to work. Last year, we started off within the city and the parish, 2 deaths a month. In May, I stopped counting. We starting already 2 deaths a month. Children. So we're here, we're gonna mentor, we're gonna be aggressive in our mentoring. We're gonna be aggressive in everything we do. Because Trey didn't have to die the way he died. He was seeking help. He was looking for help. And my hands was tied. I'm untying my hands. Carrie, you have anything you'd like to add?
Like Ms. Tara said, just basically, it's getting out of hand. It was out of hand, it's even more out of hand. And we're just coming here today to ask that y'all please, I just was recently given some information and found out that, well, I don't know how true it is, but to say that, let me see where it's at exactly. That the local municipals no longer fund or support the engagements of a lot of the youth programs. I put out a post on Facebook just asking them, okay, what do y'all as a community, what does everybody feel that can be done? Like, let me get y'all input. Let me see, like, since y'all see it, let's see. And I actually made a couple copies, and for y'all to see, most of the things were the same. Everybody's more Big Brother programs. We need things for them to do. We need places for them to be. We need more involvement. Let's see what else. It's mostly a cry for programs, more help, more support, more things for them. We need to really give these kids, especially our youngest, because we're losing them younger and younger. We need to really be able to jump out, and we need some help to do it. We really need to be able to jump out. We need to get vigorous at what we want to do. And I made copies just for y'all to see. This is just just a basic call out I just put on thing, and it was just for y'all to see that everybody in the community is pretty much screaming the same thing. And as y'all, our heads, our voices, I just like y'all to take a look and to understand that we are all on the same page. We all feel the same thing. And as our voices, I just want y'all to hear us, and I want y'all to speak for us. That's pretty much all I had, and if I allow a lot of.
You can pass
Carrie,
them
I'll
around.
take
You can
these.
walk around and pass them around, Carrie.
And just to know, on the 3rd of every month, starting this month, we're doing our GI mentoring. It's the Gents Intervention. It's a 7-week course that they're gonna come in for 4 hours every Saturday, every 3rd Saturday of the month. And the girls come every 1st Saturday of the month. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, I got one comment, and I don't get a chance to make these comments in public. You know, I'm grateful, and I'll support National Mentoring Day in
Yes.
January. I also say this. I know since I've been on this council and before this council, I would like to say that I got elected because I was involved at the ground level trying to help my youth in this community with all kinds of things, everything from mentoring in my barbershop daily, 5 days a week, not just in January. I've seen probably, Councilman Lewis, your son came to my shop. I've seen probably more kids, I've hugged more kids that died probably than anybody in this town. Gun violence is a serious problem throughout the United States of America. We have a charge as a community, not just the council people, to band together and fight this here. You know, I don't allow guns in my shop. I don't allow marijuana in my shop. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I know that I'm not equipped to do is go and take the guns out of the kids' hands. I'm not equipped to do that. I didn't go to school for law enforcement. I'm not a Navy SEAL, Army Ranger, or anything like that. I've been gifted and empowered by the good Lord to be able to talk to those kids about where they're going because I've myself been there. A lot of y'all don't know this. My little brother got shot 4 centimeters from his heart in 1992. Got shot in his aorta vein in his leg. He walked right now with a limp because he almost died. I've been seeing this all my life. This ain't just started yesterday. What I also see is a lot of division among leadership. That we need to get together as leaders and say, hey, let's do this. It's not, when my friend died, got murdered in his shop, somebody came to me and said, man, Marlon, you got to step up now. I said, step up and do what? I said, first of all, those are some big shoes to fill, because he did a lot, Cliff. I said, those are big shoes to fill. I said, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to continue doing what I've been doing in the community. But it was so much division, and I coined the phrase, giving and serving is not a popularity contest. It's not who can get there first and wave a flag and say, hey, I'm helping. What we're doing behind the scenes is valued more by God than what we're doing in front of the camera. And I've been in front of a lot of cameras saying, stop it. And I'm willing to walk and stand with anybody. Me and Carrie worked together several times already. We don't work together. We have a lot of people in the community that want to see this stop, but we have to have a unified body to see this stop. It's not a competition. I'm not part of no group right now, mentoring group. You know what I learned from Captain Colonel Terry Landry, who was a mentor of mine, and I'm a student of mentorship. He said, son, you got what is called a captive audience. Use it to your best ability. My barbershop, my community is on Lombard Street. They named that street in the 90s, they named it 600 Ave after the Bloods and Crips. We don't call it that no more. There are people that are fighting and changing. You know, and I'm just say, just because we don't see them, that don't mean they ain't fighting and fighting to try to make a difference. You know I am. But then I also have children to raise. I got a daughter that graduated from Dillard University. I grew up in the projects, Dodge City, A.B. Simon Projects. I lived in St. Edwards Project. I went through some changes in my personal life that could have made me quit. But I got up off the ground and I said, my children are not going to go through it. I have a 16-year-old. I'm a single dad that I'm raising right now. A.B. honor roll. I'm doing my job. We're doing our job. We have to make some of these parents get out and do their job. You got grandparents raising their children. These people don't know how to relate to their children. You know, I'm going to be here even Even, I got 2 more years on the city council, but I'm gonna still be here because I have an establishment in this town. In, like we say, the hood. I'm gonna be here. Come see me, I ain't going nowhere. I tell them all, come see me, y'all know where I'm at. You know? But it's not a competition for me. Babies are dying. Mothers are crying. So, I get it, but I know for a fact, how many gun violence rallies we put on, Miss Ledbetter? I'm sorry, you helped us as well.
Yeah.
Dee Dee, how many we did? Town hall meetings and...
A couple at least. We had that big one. I mean, every time we have a captive audience, we try to talk about the kids and programs and how do we get programs in front of them? How do we make sure the parents are bringing their kids to the programs? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a
One more
tough
thing.
situation to be in. Go ahead.
And I'm actively recruiting leaders. Why? Because I can't do this for the rest of my life and I can't do it by myself. I can't lead everything. I'm actively recruiting young people to get involved. Mentoring people, not just 15 and 16-year-old, because they don't want to listen to this 52-year-old gray-haired boy man no more. I got 17, 18, and 20-year-olds I'm saying, man, y'all got to get involved. That's in college. We got a lot of work to do, and we got to work it together. That's all I'm going to say.
And that's the point. Everybody have to do their part. No one man is bigger than the next. And until you could, I'm put Carrie in it a lot, until you got to talk to a young man to put the gun down, sit him in his face. He don't have a heart, 14-year-old, no heart to talk down. That's what we got to do. That's what we facing. I'm a young woman. I shouldn't have to do that. And yes, parents need to be involved, but some are doing their job. Some are seeking help, and they're not getting it. I'm going to be their voice. These grandparents are doing it, and I'm going to be their voice. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, my phone rings, and I don't send it to voicemail. I'm going to fight for these kids. I ain't got no fight. I don't care who like it and who don't like it. I'm in these streets, and these kids trust me. They trust Mr. Carey. Some of them don't want to live like this, but there is. To whatever. But we're going to do what we have to do. We appreciate any support. We have a lot of support coming from everywhere else. Whatever y'all can do, we appreciate it. And, you know, let's do what we can do to save our kids, because they need to be saved. That school to prison pipeline is strong. Yes, ma'am.
So, one, thank you guys for everything you are doing in the community, because you are making a difference, and we appreciate you putting your family and everybody else second to go out there and help these kids and these parents try to save their children. Both of you, Carrie and Shadu, we definitely appreciate everything you guys are doing. I would say that also know that even though some of us don't talk about it, we are doing things behind the scenes. And maybe what we need to do is, as leaders, we need to get together and talk about how do we take all what we're doing as individuals and make that work and put it together so that we have a program, a strong program that we can reach out to the entire community.
Correct.
I mean, I was mentoring 2 young ladies at Pesson, and I can tell you that when I went back and talked to the principal, she told me it made a difference. She told me that one of the little girls is in danger of failing, and that, you know, she was having problems in class, and that by the end of the school year, she was a different person. So, you know, that made me feel like, okay, you know, maybe the conversations we had made a difference.
Correct.
So if there's a young lady that I can mentor, I'm all for it, because they wouldn't let us come back into school this year because of some COVID protocols.
Okay.
So I'm happy to mentor a young lady because I had people mentor me, and I know it can make a difference. Now, I don't have the experience of growing up in the hood. You know where I live, okay? And I went to private school. So I may not know the conversation that needs to be had with a kid that's holding a gun, but I do know what it feels like to make a mistake and to turn your life around, and then to go to college and to make something out of yourself. And so for those kind of things, I can help a young lady or even a young man.
Correct.
So just maybe what we need to do is find a way to bring not just council people, but anybody in the city who's interested in helping the youth, bring us together and let's talk about how do we, and not leave until we actually have something written in stone, that this is what we're going to, before 2023 is out, these are the things we're going to accomplish. Because my children don't live here. My grandchildren don't live here. But I am involved with the youth because I care about them. I want to see this city grow, and the only way we're going to do that is by saving the children, because they are going to be the future of this city. And they got to be well, they got to be mentally well in order to be leaders in this city in the future. And I think I was listening to the new NISH principal, Principal Harding, on Sunday, on Monday for Dr. Martin Luther King. And he said that there's so many children in the community that need mental health services. He said they need somebody to talk to because they're angry, they're hurt, they're just in a place that they don't know how to make good decisions. And so he recommended that we figure out how to get mental health services to our children. So count me in to help.
Yeah, I never had a problem with you, Councilman Reed. Yes, sir.
I'd just like to say that I don't want to see us shortchange anybody. We all live here. This is all our community. This council, I'm here every day. That's my job. I watch what every one of these people do in the community, and they are real community leaders. Maybe we don't tout our horn enough, and maybe what we need to do is partner what we're already putting in place with what you're doing. You know, we're spending a couple of $100,000 to build a Boys and Girls Club of a second location in the West End Park, because we know we have issues there that we can catch kids at a very young age. They have anti-gang programs, anti-violence programs. We're probably dropping $200,000 to do that. I was reading your notes, Mr. Carey. We are already planning and trying to put in a new pool. We've already decided where it would go. We've asked the state for the money. We just spent $350,000 putting a splash pad. We are designing and building a brand new park on Ann Street. I love Ann Street, but you're on Ann Street, you don't even know where you're at. There is no new Iberia connection. You're on Ann Street, there's no store, there's no anything, okay? We bought some property, we're getting design, we're getting money from the state. We're putting the first little neighborhood park in. We're putting another neighborhood park in Little Brooklyn on the other side of the bayou. We are making headway. We have money for some anti-violence programs that we've been working with the chief, and that is coming. So I think we see it.
We also have $100,000 we're giving to STEM programs.
Yes, we're trying to do $100,000 to start STEM in the schools because they don't have it.
Yep.
We have $150,000 that is going to go to try to help some kids who don't want to go to college but would want to go to VOTEC. We're about to start partnering with them. We are looking at, we have that One Block at a Time program, which is about to kick off, which helps in some neighborhoods and some disadvantaged areas with some housing. We have all of our ARPA money through the work of this entire council is going into the community where it belongs. But maybe we're not doing a good enough. We're meeting with the parish, we're meeting with the recreation and trying to figure out all the programs we have and which ones are working and which ones maybe are outdated, but we're spending money. We're spending the time. Do the chief and I talk constantly? We had a press conference today. Parents need to be parents. Are there kids with guns in their houses? And there's no way parents don't know that. I can give you, I'm not going to, but I can give you example after example, of kids we're talking about, that they know they have guns, their associates or friends or whatever you want to call them have guns. We need to act as a community. And to act as a community, we got to get the guns out of here and out of the hands of kids. Do I know that mental health services through every age group, the state cut that back years ago. We have issues where many of our citizens, unfortunately, need some type of mental health assistance. Well, you combine that with the pressures on a 14, 15-year-old. We didn't grow up like that.
Right.
He talks about the gray hair. Look, we old. Our day was not like this. You knocked the hell out of somebody, and 3 days later, they were your best friend. And they were your friend for life. We had it very different. So the pressures that are on the youth are different. The times are different. We have mental health issues, but there's too many guns, and those guns are in houses. We got to get them out of those houses. So as a community, the first thing we can do, when you see 5 or 6 kids and they all have guns, you better call somebody. We got to get the guns out of their hands because they're not making a rational decision. They're 13, 14, 15 years old. They're not a good place to make that decision. So I just, I don't want this to be, I want it to be what it is, that we come together as a community, and I know y'all, and that's what we're going to do. But I want my council to get a fair shake that as community leaders, I see what they're doing. I hear the blood, sweat, and tears. We call each other every time there's a shooting, every time there's an incident. We're going back and forth on, you know, this is not the town we grew up in, or this is not the vision we have for our community. But to get there, it's gonna take all of us.
Correct.
Yeah.
But parents need to be parents, and we as a community need to start speaking up. Because you go behind the scenes, I'm very blessed to have this job, and I'm very blessed to go around with the police department that we didn't have before I got here, and to kind of understand behind the scenes. And I can't tell how many instances when you hear the backstories, the clues were there. They were staring you in the face. You know, when you hear the backstory and, oh yeah, well, you know, you start connecting the dots of the kids that have taken the wrong path, and you start realizing really quick, if someone had spoke up, this would be preventable. So it's on all of us as a town, as a community, to speak up, to get those guns out of here, and to get those kids back on the right path. I'm not judging anybody, but we ain't gonna save them if we don't do anything.
Correct.
So I appreciate your efforts. This took a, you know, we thought we were doing a resolution saying, see,
No, it just,
but
it was just on
it
my
just
heart.
happened, okay?
Yeah.
So for me, this is a good moment that we just need to continue this energy and pull together and look at how we can work with our police department, you know, because without them, we're not gonna solve it. They have an excellent solve rate. What we need is we need prevention.
Correct.
We gotta do
Correct.
something that instead of picking up the pieces and cleaning up the mess, okay, we're preventing it. But to do that, we're gonna have to act like a community. So I appreciate y'all coming, and I think on that issue, I believe that, you know, we're all on the same page.
Correct.
Thank y'all.
All right.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Sir.
I just had a thought. And I am president and founder of this organization. I deal with a lot of people. But one thing this organization has been about, we use plurals. We, us, the team. I'm not going to deal or let this organization deal with anybody that's looking for self-glorification. We, us, the team,
Community.
the community. But anybody looking for self-glorification, we're not going to deal with. We need everybody, but I don't keep my enemies close to me. I keep them where I can see you coming. I get too relaxed, you might come in and do something another time. So I keep them right there at bay. We, us, the team. That's what we're about.
Thank you. Thank y'all very much. Let's see, where are we? 4A.
Ordinance number 2023-01, an ordinance improving contract between the City of New Iberia and Minville and Associates Incorporated for grant administrative consulting services and authorizing the mayor to negotiate and execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
I need a motion to open our public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman D. Johnson-Reed and a second by Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Is there any public comment on this public hearing? Hearing and seeing none, I need a motion to close our public hearing.
Moved.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas and a second by Councilwoman D. Johnson-Reed. Thank y'all very much. Item 4B.
Ordinance number 2023-02, an ordinance amending section 18-28 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of New Iberia relating to waiver land use regulations relative to permitting for mobile homes, recreational vehicles, or other temporary housing located directly adjacent to an applicant's damaged dwelling in the event of a declared gubernatorial disaster or emergency waived by the mayor on a case-by-case basis to allow for expedited delivery.
I need a motion to open our public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Councilwoman D. Johnson-Reed, and a second, I'm gonna give it to Councilman Dustin Swear this time. Is there any public comment on this item? Hearing, seeing none, I need a motion to close.
Motion.
Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte and Councilwoman D. Johnson-Reed, thank y'all. Item 5A.
Ordinance number 2023-01, an ordinance approving contract between the City of New Iberia and Minville and Associates Incorporated for grant administrative consulting services and authorizing the mayor to negotiate and execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman D. Johnson-Reed and a second by Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please vote your machine. Thank you. All right. 5B.
Ordinance number 2023-02, an ordinance amending section 18-28 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of New Iberia relating to waiver of land use regulations relative to permitting for mobile homes, recreational vehicles, or other temporary housing located directly adjacent to an applicant's damaged dwelling in the event of a declared gubernatorial disaster or emergency waived by the mayor on a case-by-case basis to allow for expedited delivery.
Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Who was what?
First, second.
Okay, yeah, we switching. Councilman Martin Lewis and second by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Is there any discussion on this item?
Where are
So
we at
this-
now? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
We both just started talking. Like, how long do we wait now for them to be able to get the homes, the mobile homes?
Oh, the ones from the tornado? We talked to them today, and how many more weeks? It should be in the next week. It's been 4 weeks.
Okay.
But, which has been a while, but they're saying the next week or two, they should finally get the mobile homes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yes.
So my question is more process related. In the future, this will not come in front of the council. You'll just,
We'll have it in place. Actually, we have an emergency thing that we thought we might have to do that, isn't that still?
It's next.
It's next. But now we'll be able to not go before the council and this corrects our issue,
okay.
which is what we wanted. Yep. Anybody further? Then I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you. And then we still need 6A?
No.
Okay, 6A.
Extending ordinance number 2022-33, which is an emergency ordinance adopted December 20th, 2022, allowing temporary placement of mobile homes, recreational vehicles, or other temporary housing located directly adjacent to or near an applicant's damaged dwelling in areas affected by the tornado of December 14th, 2022, for an additional 30 days as authorized by Section 2-13C of the New Iberia City Charter.
And we need this because the one we just adopted won't take effect till 10 days after it's published, correct?
Right.
So that's why, the only reason we really need this one, just because of the time crunch, because we're actually doing something. Anyway, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Marlon Lewis, and who was the second? Councilman Dee Dee Ledbetter, thank you. I thought it was Dee Dee. Great, do we have
The
any
other Dee Dee.
discussion? If there's no discussion, then I'll please ask you to vote your machines. Cool. And now, in the future, because we have this, that's a stopgap, we have the other one, we won't ever have to do this again. We can just discretionary decide and get people help.
Okay.
Good, thank you. 7A.
Resolution number 23-05, approving change order number 3 for the Civic Center Marina Phase 1 project and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
Do you have a motion?
Second.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, a second by Councilman Dustin Swear, and we have Paul Allen to come up and explain this issue. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. This is related to Civic Center Marina sign. During the bid process, we obtained, because of the specialty item that this sign is and because of the size of the sign, we asked a company to come up with some information regarding the value of the sign. And that was done in January of 2022. So we set aside a value for the components related to the sign. And so recently, we got information regarding the sign, and I had concerns about strength issues regarding the signs and the way that they were designed and mounted to the poles that are put up outside. And so I expressed concerns about that in light of some of the recent wind events that we've had around this area. And so my concerns reflected a change of cost for the sign. Freddie and I talked about that. And I also want to make mention that we do have some other components to the project that are actually going to be credited back to the project because we're not going to be using them. So I don't have an exact value of that, but I hope that this offsets some of the costs on this sign modification. Any questions?
Questions, comments? Hearing none, I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you very much. And we had a big discussion about service to the sign because it's a lit sign, and kind of took advantage of how we could make sure that our people could service the sign. I didn't have to call a sign company.
Good.
That is something that
Correct,
we have
correct.
been.
Which the panels are removable.
While
so
we were
they can be
able to
properly
kind of
serviced.
revamp it, we took that into consideration because it could get expensive to keep calling a sign company. Good, thank you. All right, item 8A.
Ordinance number 2022-26, an ordinance to amend and extend for a period of 25 years until December 6, 2050. Ordinance number 2000-580, adopted November 8, 2000, which ordinance granted a franchise to Cleco Power LLC, formerly Cleco Utility Group Incorporated, its successors, and assigns for the construction, maintenance, and operation of electric utilities, electric generating facilities, and/or transmission and distribution systems in, through, and across the city of New Iberia, Louisiana municipality, and for the use of streets, alleys, and public places of said municipality in connection therewith for the generation, transmission, distribution, and sale of electric current, energy, and/or power, and to modify the terms of said franchise granted in ordinance number 2000-580 as hereinafter set forth and setting for public hearing on February 7th, 2023.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Gonsalas and a second by Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Discussion.
Mayor, I would
Yes, ma'am.
also like to offer a motion to postpone
All right,
till the second weekend in February, till the second meeting in February.
all right. So we have a motion on the floor to postpone. Do we have a second?
Second.
So we have a motion on the second, motion by Councilwoman Deidre Ledbetter and a second by Councilwoman Deidre Johnson-Reed. Is there any discussion on this motion?
The discussion would be that I did send in some questions, and they were answered on Thursday, which didn't give a whole lot of time to do very much. I did put in a call to Mr. Bergeron. We did speak. He was supposed to get back to me about something that we had discussed, and he has not. I also spoke to our Public Service Commissioner, Mike Francis, today, and I got some information from him. And one thing that I don't know if the council knew, because I surely didn't, that we could actually go before the Public Service Commission and ask for a reduction in, in what we're paying right now. Just as they went before and got the increase, we could ask for a decrease. Now, that would be done through our lawyer, our city attorney, and their lawyers to get on to the agenda, but that is also possible. So it's just some things that we were not aware of that we can do. And I think we need some more time actually to do it rather than rush through it right now. Just like some of the speakers, the comments before about the street lights. I asked about the street lights, somebody to be in charge of going around once a month to see that they're on. I don't know if it's not a problem for anybody else, but we're paying for it and they're not on. That's a biggie. That is really a biggie. And my answer was, Mr. Bergeron told me that they come around quarterly. That means the light could be out for 4 months, possibly, without anybody possibly reporting it. I know of 2 lights out right now. I just happened to drive by, and on the same street. So if there was somebody whose job it was to actually go around and check to see at night what lights are off, so that they can be put on new bulbs put in a timely fashion, not waiting a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and so on, because that is an expense to the city. Lights are a deterrent for crime also. If the light's not on, well, lots of bad things can happen in the dark. So that is one thing that I would really like to see in the contract or as an addendum as we possibly discussed. There are other things that we can also ask for in the addendum. I know that, Mayor, you have what you would want. You negotiated, and that's a good thing. But it's sometimes, for us, we need to interject some things that we actually want also. And this is for a term of 25 years. This is not just our administration, this is several to come. I also know that we need more accountability from Cleco. When they ask for an increase in, an increase in the rates, why weren't the council and the mayor or the mayor informed about it? I know there's a public notice that goes out in the newspaper, but since we pay a lot of the bill for the street lights and all, if we were aware of it, we could inform our constituents better about the possible rate increase that's coming. We could possibly attend those meetings of the Public Service Commission and voice our opinion about it at the time, which we can do. In fact, there's a meeting tomorrow morning. I did give you a handout. On the last sheet of the handout, it states the meeting dates, where they are, and what time they are. They also live stream on the website also. I think that we as a council definitely need to get more involved in this. And we need some time, I think, to do this. We do have time. It's not like it's a big rush to sign a new contract since the old one has not expired. And in order to be locked in for 25 years, we need to get the biggest bang for our buck. So I'm hopeful that you all, fellow council members, will consider that. It's not a rush. And we need to get the most for our constituents that we represent.
Thank you. Any other comments?
So,
Yes, ma'am.
I also sent in questions, and,
And you sent them to me yesterday, and I got you your answers today.
oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'm not about to say anything about
I
that.
got them yesterday, but.
Yes, I did send them yesterday, because we said before the next meeting, so yesterday was before the next
Oh, yeah,
meeting.
no, it counted, it counted.
Okay, so thank you for getting them back so
Yes,
quickly.
ma'am.
However,
Thank you,
I was
Senator.
not happy with what I got back. So the first thing is, in addition to what was said about the whole thing with the polls, the contract states that they're responsible to maintain these things, yet they want our police officers, maybe other municipalities will do it, but our police officers, in my opinion, don't have time to go around looking at polls and writing down numbers, because it's time consuming. And how do I know? Because I've done it. I've had to go around at night looking at polls and writing down numbers. That's time consuming. Our officers could be doing something like fighting crime. And the fact is that I've never, ever signed a contract where the company who I'm paying is asking me to do the work. Because not only do they have to do it, they have to keep a list of them, then they have to turn it into someone in the administration, and they have to type up all these things and then send those to Cleco. So it's not just a simple of, I'm riding around. That's a lot of, to me, burden on us when we're paying them to do this. The contract says they're supposed to maintain it. We should not be involved. I don't care if they have to hire 100 people. That's their problem, not our problem. We're paying them to do it. They need to figure out how many people they need to get it done and get it done. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I mean, I know in the past, maybe it wasn't an issue because Cleco was a local company for many, many years, but they're no longer now because they're owned by a foreign company. We should have some protections in place if they sell this company again, because they can sell it again. And then they could be right back in front of the Public Service Commission asking for another raise. We need to protect us. We should have an out, or at least say the contract expires, we can go year to year so that we can decide if Cleco or the new Cleco will be giving us the best rate. And looking at what Ms. Councilwoman Ledbetter gave us, that's a problem already. The other thing that probably was something that's probably near and dear to my heart is more around the technology. One of the speakers mentioned it and this was one of my questions, is like, there's nothing in our contract that says that Cleco has to give us the most efficient energy, the most recent technology that's available, that they're not required to do anything to keep us upgraded on any particular time schedule. As new technology comes out, they don't have to do anything. They could keep us with the same stuff we've had for the 25 years from before. And anybody who rides around our city, you can see that these poles are old, hanging. The fact is that, and he also mentioned about underground. When I lived in another municipality, and 2 different homes. In my first house, we had underground utilities. My second house, we had underground utilities. We had light posts, decorative light posts. Guess what? I can count the number of times that the lights went out over there. Every single time they went out, and that's on one hand, it was because of somebody hit a transformer. It wasn't because the utilities were underground. And to me, it's also, look at how it looks, all these wires crossing the city. We need to have some underground utilities in other places. As technology gets better, we want more things in our city that makes our citizens' bills go down. We don't want to keep still using 25-year-old or 50-year-old technology, which does not give us an opportunity to lower the bills of our constituents. And then I would say the other thing, and is around the franchise fee. I know we deleted part of this thing, but the fact is that the franchise fee is, to me, should be paid by Cleco. Why are our citizens paying a franchise fee to us? It should be Cleco paying us a franchise fee, because guess what? They're still getting profit. That 4% ought to come from them and not from our citizens. I guess I feel like there's some other things that I wrote they don't all need to be said right here. But I feel like we're in a position of leverage. We're one of the largest, if not the largest municipality. If we don't stand firm, then none of these smaller municipalities have a chance. The one that has the most people that can actually go out there and make the biggest difference is the city of New Iberia. And so we need to stand firm and say, you're going to give us the best technology, you're going to give us the best infrastructure, you're going to add poles when we think that we need poles, because there are lots of parts of our city that are dark. So they get to decide when we have a pole added? No, we need to decide. We need to be able to say, listen, that street is dark, we need a light there. And we need all these, now negotiating, we should be saying, we want all of these old lights switched out to LED, because that's going to lower our bill, which means that the money we save from paying Cleco, we can turn that money into services to our customers, our residents. Again, I am all for, I think we need cameras. I'm not sure that I'm ready to use this $1.5 million to get the cameras at the expense of signing a 25-year contract, when I feel like there are parts of this contract that are not good for the city of New Iberia. And again, I'm all for getting the cameras. I'd rather let's take the money out of the general fund and then we'll replace it later with the money once we finish negotiating this. But we need to make sure that we don't handicap the future councils with a 25-year contract that has nothing in it that actually makes sense for our residents.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any other discussion on this item? Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna go around, let everybody talk once like I normally do, in case they want to, and then I'll come back. Does anybody have anything?
Man, I'll say this.
Yeah, sure.
In reading the contract and knowing a little bit about the contract, some of the things I hear Councilwoman Ledbetter and Councilwoman Johnson ask for, I don't see them as far-fetched. I really don't. I didn't hear you guys talk about the concessions for people on dialysis.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. I didn't mention that, but that's in here too.
I mean, I'm always work from the heart, not from the throat. I don't hear nothing that is far-fetched
Right.
for the people that I served. I mean, if I heard something that was far-fetched, I mean, I would tell the truth, but I didn't hear anything that was far-fetched. So, I mean, I agree with, looking at the contract and making sure we get some new stuff for new problems. Because 25 years ago, they had old problems.
Right.
So we may need some new stuff for new problems. It was a time, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to speak on them lights thing. I mean, I rode around changing, going, put out lights and writing them down and all that, and just lucky enough, I know some people that know me. But let me tell you something, that every time you ride up to a light in the hood, them boys look at you like you must be the police. So, I mean, if we got to keep doing that, and the next council got to keep doing that, and there's nothing in there saying, you're right. We said as a council that we were going to ask the police department to do it. But we still having that problem because, I mean, the police department is busy.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not against Cleco servicing us. I realize that they're a corporation, a conglomerate. I'm not against that. But if there's something to give to make our community better, then, I mean, I'm all for it as well, to make our service better. I mean, I honestly didn't hear anything wrong or far-fetched.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
So my ask was about adding streetlights, and I don't know if Mr. Willie plans on coming and talk to us, but the response was typically streetlights are added with little to no installation costs given the proximity of available poles and services. So what does that mean? Like, what is little to no installation costs? And who's paying for it? The customer or the city?
Well, streetlights, if you look at the locations, if you look at the poles and wires around town, the installation on a streetlight inside of a city is more or less just going to be hanging a light, maybe, and running a service at not a far distance. The streetlights, all the approval comes from, in every municipality, the approval comes from the mayor's office as to the streetlights that go up. It's a request that comes to us, and then we install the light.
Oh, so it would cost the city?
The city pays the bill, the monthly bill for the light.
No, but like to actually put it up, the installation cost?
No, the installation and construction is based on a revenue, rate of return on revenue versus the construction. And like I said, inside of a city, just hanging a light, running a service, a small service, and most times you're just connected to what's on the pole already. There's no installation cost associated with that. The
Okay.
cost associated is the monthly service.
Okay, gotcha. So that's something that we previously should have been able to do, or this is something new?
No, you've always had the ability to add streetlights, but like I said, the approval comes from every mayor and every municipality.
Okay.
There's a form that they send to us, and it comes from the mayor's
Okay,
office.
gotcha. Okay, that's what I was confused about, because I know we had some people want some, but it was a cost to the resident is what I was understanding. But maybe that's dusk till dawn light?
There's two, if you look at a light on a city street, if it faces the street, that's a city-owned light because it is overhanging the street. If it's faced inside the yard, that's a customer-owned light. That customer pays for the light. And there again, and most times, there's poles all over the city in every block. There's not gonna be much or any installation cost involved. There's gonna be the monthly service for that light.
Okay, gotcha. That's what I need a clarification on. Thank you.
Anybody else who hadn't spoke? Nope. Okay. I know you had your hand up again, so.
Yes, those kinds of things, like Councilwoman Mark I just said, is not clearly stated anywhere. Because our mayor had previously said that it would be on the city to pay for the installation of said lights. So there's a disconnect.
Well, like Miss Didi said, if she was talking about poles, if there's a street that has no houses, no premise, no meter at all, and you have our pole line stops here and you have a quarter mile before someone builds another house or someone wants a light, there's going to be a cost associated with that because we have poles, we have wires, we have to run to build that infrastructure to that light.
But we're just talking about lights with, existing poles pretty much in the city, not anything that's way out into an area where there's no, infrastructure there. That is not clear. Your answer wasn't very clear either, was it?
In the email, I was confused. That's why I had to ask for clarification.
So things like that, we need to clarify. Like I said, you said that there would be a possibility of an addendum added to the contract.
Yes, ma'am. And in Ms. Didi's question, she talks about the patrol of the streetlights and doing a streetlight audit. And we've agreed on the major thoroughfares, like we stated with the both of you, the major thoroughfares. Instead of doing it once a quarter, we would do it monthly. We would patrol those lights monthly. And we always do the major thoroughfares quarterly and before events, before anything downtown or anything anywhere that there's a public gathering. We go and we make sure that the lights are working and everything's going to be okay. We're going to do that on a monthly basis now.
Major thoroughfares, what about the side streets and all of those other communities?
The side streets and the communities, and there again, I hate to sound, but every municipality, the police departments, the citizens, with our website, with the toll-free numbers we have, the lights are easy to report. On the website itself, you can go and you don't even have to have an account number established. You can report a street light out on that website just by clicking a button.
But once again, the point you're missing is that's your job. It's your job to maintain our system, not ours, not our citizens. We're paying you to do it. It's not fair that you put the burden back on us, whether it's our police officers or this council here who rides around doing this, or even our citizens. Your job is to maintain. Maintenance is on you. You need to figure out how to hire some people to make sure that our whole city is covered, because you're charging us for every month, for every light, whether it's on or not. So take that money that all these lights are out, hire somebody else and have them do that. That's not fair to put that burden on us, is what I'm saying.
And my thing is, that is still not in the contract.
Exactly.
See, that's just word of mouth right here, right now. With a new administration, whatever's in the contract is what they believe.
It's what's law.
Yeah. So if it's not in writing, you could say, well, I didn't say that. You could, like we said, your tenure could be over,
But like I told you, it's public. If I'm saying it here and I'm giving you my word on it, it's public record. And
public record, really, no, because
We need it in
we
contract.
need it in writing for sure. What you saying right now about, doing it monthly, we would like it done monthly, even if you have to hire somebody. We are paying enough for you to do that, and more clarity on adding a street light where there's a pole. What about that addendum? You said you were gonna check.
yes, ma'am. And the addendum that we talked about was what I just discussed with Ms. Didi and the streetlight patrols.
Yeah, but
But I don't, you're right, that's not in an addendum. We have a standard contract that we use for all of our municipalities. Everything from Ball, Louisiana to Slidell, Louisiana is all the same contract, all the same verbiage. Everybody's held to the same accountability with the same clauses, the same everything. It's.
But we not
But
the
maybe your
same.
clauses are too old now. Maybe y'all need to revise your standard contract.
One at a time.
Because contracts are made to be negotiated. And it doesn't appear that you guys, I mean, you don't get me wrong, you did say that you would do it monthly. But that's the only thing you guys get. Negotiations means that there's some compromise, and it is in the, if you don't want it in your main contract, it needs to be in the addendum, because that's important to us. Those are some things that we think we're paying for, we're not getting today, and we want it in writing that it's gonna be done. I want, when the mayor's signature is on that contract, that the next mayor who comes in after Freddie's next term ends.
Thought you were booting me out.
No, I'm saying after your next term is over, I want that mayor to say, look at that contract and say, oh, okay, yeah, now we can get these polls done, they're going around and they're checking every month and verify. Because I know the whole saying, trust, but verify. And they need to be able to verify, and they need to be able to say, we should probably put penalties in the contract that says that you guys did not perform. And when you don't perform, we get a discount. I mean, that's how we normally handle those contracts. Maybe this is slightly different because of utility. But the fact is that Cleco's contract is probably as old as me. It's time to change it.
This contract is fairly new, and when I say
It was there in 2020. It was there in 2020.
Yes, ma'am.
And it looked very similar to the one that was before that.
There's a lot of things that have changed. There's a lot of things that stay the same. And to get back to your point earlier, I can't speak on the Public Service Commission, but a town or a municipality or an individual can't go before somebody else and negotiate a cheaper rate when rates are set by the Public Service Commission for our entire rate base. So it would have to, that would have to be a decision by the Louisiana Public Service Commission.
Yes, it definitely would
It's
be.
not- it's
But
not
we could have the opportunity to do that if we can get on the agenda to do that. That would be something that this municipality could do.
But it's not based just on, the city of New Iberia would not get a cheaper rate than the city of Eunice or
Well, maybe we'll
Nobody-
invite them to come.
nobody would get a discounted rate on the residential or on any customer.
Well, we could hopefully, possibly negotiate a lower rate, since they just had an increase. They're not gonna let you go under, you know that already, so, that's baked in already, that you're gonna get yours and you're not gonna fold because they're not gonna let you. So you have no worries about that. No matter how high or how low they go, it's gonna be, your profit is baked in. You know that.
We do have a profit, but we're capped at a profit.
Yeah,
Anything
but
above
you know
that
you're
has to
gonna
come
get
back to the
one. You're
consumer.
not gonna go under. So, back to the addendum. Are we gonna get that addendum in writing and signed? That's the question right now.
For the monthly streetlight patrols?
And some of
But-
the other stuff too, if possible.
I mean,
The clarification on, who's responsible for what.
But
with the
and
lights.
also,
But the clarification on the streetlights, and I'm sorry that my email was as vague as it was, but the process it's based on revenue versus construction. That's on anything. That's a new customer coming in to build a house. If we have to build a mile of line of services to get to that customer's house, there's gonna be a cost involved. It's not a contractual thing. It's a rate of return versus construction cost. So the streetlights are easy to install. The monthly billing, like I said, falls on the city, and every city in the state of Louisiana, there's a form that the mayor's office sends in to us, and we install it. We're not allowed, and we will not put up a streetlight if Mr. Gonsalas calls in to ask for a streetlight. That request has to come from the mayor's office.
We understand, well, it's clearly outlined now, but like I said, that should be an addendum, that particular thing too. If there's a utility pole already there, and we can afford to pay the monthly fee for the light, mayor says it's in, you put it in, at no cost to install it.
with an LED bulb, so it won't cost us a lot.
And like I told you, all new light fixtures are LED. We don't have
Okay,
anything
but
else.
what about the old ones? That's costing us a fortune.
Yes, ma'am. But if you take into consideration that if we change out all LEDs, all the fixtures here in the city or in any city to LED bulbs, we're gonna take down 1,000 lights. That's 1,000 lights that are working. So what happens is, and not just with Cleco, with all utilities, when those lights reach the end of their life cycle, then they're converted to LEDs. It's, lack of a better term, it's a waste of money to take down a working light to install an LED light.
Well, you say that, Mr. Bergeron, but actually for us, it's the opposite. For us, taking down that bulb reduces our cost, which also reduces the amount that we have to take away from other services we could provide for our citizens, because LED lights, they just don't generate the same kind of energy as the old bulbs. So for us, as a city, as a municipality, we need to have LED bulbs so that we can reduce the cost to our city, which means we can take that money and do something else with.
Yes, ma'am. And we're changing them out when they fail, we change out to LEDs.
And we're saying we're in the middle of a negotiation. Maybe that's one of our negotiating points. We want them all changed. Within the next 5 years, we want all of those changed to LED bulbs. This is what negotiation's about. That's when you put these things in here that we've been waiting to talk to you guys about for 25 years. We haven't been able to do anything. So now is the time to get those things in the contract that we need in the contract, which is we need to change these LED bulbs out within the next 5 years. We want them all gone so that we can reduce the cost to our city. I recognize the fact, this is not personal. You're Cleco's representative, so please don't think it's I'm just trying to help you to understand where we.
It's not personal.
Right.
I understand.
This is where we sit. This is the things this is our job to negotiate on behalf of our city to make sure we're getting the best deal. And using a standard contract that you guys use for everybody, that doesn't fly with me. The standard contract is always written in your favor. And so our job is to make sure that we get the things that we need in that contract that helps us. It's got to be some give and take. And like I said, y'all contract is old. If nothing else, it's 23 years old. It needs to be changed.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know the average lifespan of the old bulbs?
No, I don't. We do have some
All be
old.
burnt before 5 years.
We
I
do
don't
have
know.
some the older metal halide lights that are still working.
Okay.
And we do have some high-pressure sodium that are still working. And we do have some that within a month of hanging them, they go out.
Thank you.
I've seen that.
And
Okay.
it can be anything from animals to people shooting them or just failure. It's,
Okay. Yeah, I was asking because, they wanted them changed out before 5 years, but what if they don't even last that long? They'll
Right.
be changed anyway.
Yeah, but
And it's the same with LEDs.
Because I've had some that went out like within 6 months on Jane Street.
Yeah.
I turned in, I think 14 total, and like several have gone out within 6 months. I'm like, what is that? They weren't changed to LED though, but that was last year. So I don't know when that started, the LED bulbs.
it started here recently, so everything
Okay.
everything will be
Everything going
LEDs.
forward.
So you guys just started changing to LED bulbs in the last year or so when LED bulbs have been standard for quite some time now? See, that's what I'm talking about as far as being able to get the newest, the best efficient technology in our city. That needs to be in the contract.
We just started changing out to LEDs over the past couple of years, yes, ma'am. And the reason being is because we go through a process with engineering and our standards department to find the right type of light for the right circumstance, whether it be down here in the climate that we have here, something that can withstand the wind, the rain, anything, bugs, whatever it is. We have standards in engineering that does a pretty extensive study on that. We don't want to put up lights because there's some instances that we test lights before we put up the actual light that we're going to purchase, and they don't last. So we do our due diligence before we commit to anything.
But you do see my point that LED lights have been around for a while now. You guys should have been doing that. That's research and development. I'm sure y'all got R&D budget. And so that's part of your R&D budget. You need to be finding those lights, making sure that they can last because we're one of your largest customers. So the Southwest, South Central, whatever we are, South Central, whatever, this is your area, that's R&D. Y'all should be doing that in R&D. That shouldn't take that long. I mean, that should have been going on before they even hit the market to the consumers. I mean, we all have LED lights in our house. y'all should have been ready with that. That's R&D.
Another factor was the cost. The cost of when LEDs first came out, they were very expensive. In fact, when LEDs were out and we were doing the studies on LEDs, plasma lights are the new in thing. And so there is it's ever evolving, and we're looking. We're doing everything we can.
Okay, now I'm questioning your R&D, but that's a different story, because never mind, all right.
Okay, so we're still on our motion of if we're deferring this or not.
Yeah.
So is there any more discussion on?
Oh, one more thing, and
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Lewis brought it up. One of the other questions I asked in mine was about people who are on dialysis, oxygen. There's got to be a different plan for that group. That's the most vulnerable in our community. We have got to have something a little better than what we have today. It ought to be something that, somehow, I don't know, y'all send the list to us or something, but anybody who's on, that's life-threatening. And I would hate to think that, and based on this contract, you cannot guarantee me that they're not going to get turned off. They're not going to get disconnected. There's got to be a different way to handle this for the most vulnerable people in our community.
Yes, ma'am. We do not guarantee uninterrupted service, and we do not guarantee that. We work with people. I've told you that before. People call in, they come to the office, we give them extensions, we give them deferred agreements, we give them payment arrangements. We don't want to disconnect our customers, and we do everything we can not to disconnect our customers. And we're going to always do that. We've
Okay.
done it for 30 years that I've been here, and we're going to do it for another lifetime, whether I'm here or not. We help our customers. The revenue that we get in, we don't want to cut somebody off and not get anything.
Well, here's the thing. Last summer, as we talked about in previous meetings, we had a lot of people that couldn't pay their electricity bill. La Heat ran out of money. We had a lot of vulnerable people in our city. I suspect there's a few of those people that were probably on oxygen or dialysis. Again, they're the most vulnerable. They are seniors that really, this thing really hit them hard. So my thing is that if we don't have a solution and these people can't pay that bill, a payment arrangement doesn't help, because guess what? Next month, you're adding more. The following month, you're adding more. It's not like y'all reducing their rate or anything. Every month is going to pile on. They're never going to get to a point where they can pay off that bill. So now what you're talking about is I got to choose between medicine, food, and my electricity bill. And that's not okay. And so we're saying, how do we fix, and I don't know that we have the answer or that we know the answer today, but my thing is that we have to come up with a different solution for the most vulnerable people in our community. I'm not saying every senior citizen should not have to pay their bill. I'm saying the most vulnerable people, the people who have life-threatening illnesses that require electricity to stay alive. We ought to be, as a corporation, as a council, as a community, we ought to be able to find a different solution for that group of people.
Last thing. On the information I gave you, if you take a good look at Cleco, out of all of them, Cleco is the highest.
Yep.
That are regulated by the Public Service Commission. Just think about it. And we're not getting anything more or less than the other municipalities, which is wrong
Exactly.
with the standard contract that we have.
I mean, look at you made a point about the 1,000 kilowatts, that was what you guys did for our citizens, for people who really can't afford it. But look at the cost of what Cleco is charging at 1,000 kilowatts compared to the others. The big difference. Big difference.
You're talking about this
Yeah, and on the front.
The front page.
It's,
front page?
Yeah, the front page too. The other one is, it's just a graph, but this one has the dollar amount.
dollar amount, okay.
I'm waiting on the pro tem to come back.
Oh,
Other discussion? He'll be right back.
I just hope that my council members see that we have an opportunity here to make some necessary changes at this point in time. And we just need a little time to possibly get it done. Because I know Mr. Bergeron told me we could have an addendum. He was going to ask about it, and he still hasn't committed to it or not as of yet. Willie?
Ma'am, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The addendum.
You never
If-
said
Didn't miss anything.
Yes,
if it would be possible
Nothing happened.
to do the addendum and have it signed.
For the streetlight patrol, yes, ma'am. I can put that in. To change the patrols from quarterly to monthly on the major thoroughfares.
Not major thoroughfares,
the city.
the city.
I'm gonna defer and say that we're gonna ask that that everybody does what they do in every other municipality we have. And
Not if
just-
we paying
Oh.
more than every other municipality. That's not fair. That's just not.
And that's your job. It's your job, in the contract, it says your job is to maintain them. So why are you asking us to do it? It's your job.
Yes, ma'am.
No, he can't. Okay, we have a motion on the floor to defer, and we've had discussion. Is any further discussion?
Second.
Then, we had a first and a second. I would ask you to vote your machines.
We're voting to postpone.
This is if we vote to postpone. Yeah, we're not on the original thing. We're on
Okay.
the substitute motion, which is to postpone. Okay, we have a tie. That means I vote. I'm not voting to postpone. Now we have to go back to the original motion and start all over again. We've already started, I don't know, an hour of debate, so now we're back to our original motion. So I would need a motion and a somebody keep me straight. I would need a motion and a second on our original motion so that we can have a new discussion.
So moved. Second.
So do I have a motion and a second?
You
I have-
already had a motion. And
No, we did a
On
substitute.
yours.
We did it on the substitute, right, Jeff?
No, you
Keep it
had,
straight.
you had one
Randy.
first.
Ricky and
Did we?
Yeah. Ricky and Brooke made the motion
Okay,
first.
so I
And
have a
made
motion on this first one, and then I had another motion on the second one. So I don't need another motion to go back to the first one.
No.
Okay, just making sure.
You had to open a motion to get a postpone.
You're right, I had to open it some kind of way.
Yeah,
All right, well, I just want to do this right. Okay, so now we're back to our original motion. So we have discussion on our original motion? Yes, sir.
So, I sat patiently listening to all the comments on the contract, and I totally agree. Some great points brought out. But as an elected official, we're here to make decisions to move this community forward. Whether it's right, wrong, there's no perfect contract. Are there some problems in the contract? Absolutely. Also, is Cleco going beyond what they're trying to do? I read all the answers to the question. I think they're going beyond what we're trying to ask them. Are they gonna do everything we want? Absolutely not. We're not gonna get everything we want for a contract of this size. So many other municipalities approved the same contract moving forward. They all working fine. Cleco's our electric distributor. My concern is, we've sat here tonight and we've listened to people about what is the biggest problem in our community. And we can't disagree, crime is the biggest problem. So as elected officials, we're here to protect and serve our community. We have to do what's right to make sure our police department has the tools to protect our constituents. No matter what district it is, don't care. Don't matter what color it is, don't care. I, as an elected official, have to give my guys the tools. Cameras are extremely important in my vision of protecting our community currently. I think it adds an asset. Just tonight, coming here to the courthouse, Channel 15's in the parking lot. We got a lot of publicity right now. Wow. Not positive. Crime, not positive, crime, right? I don't want that publicity. You know what publicity I want? I want publicity tonight when I leave this courthouse saying that this council approved approved cameras to deter crime in our city. That's the publicity I want as an elected official. I can't disagree that there's not a perfect contract out there. I see that. I'm all for it. But tonight, it's about serving our community, standing up as leaders, making a vote to protect our citizens. Do I want to go? I'm not willing to go to the general fund to pay for crimes and postpone this contract. I think the general fund has a big burden on it with the amount of projects that we have approved as a council, positive projects, moving this community forward. There's going to be some cost overruns. We got to be very, very protective of our general fund and make sure we can initiate. And amongst those projects, West End Boys and Girls Club, Pepperplex, we can go on, sewer projects. So all those projects are going to benefit and also provide for our youth and our community, which we're asked to do. So we got to protect that general fund, make sure we have the funds to move forward. But tonight, I just feel like approving this contract is a big step in helping us deter crime in our city, which I want to do. Now, by postponing it, we're just kicking the can down the road. We all want to see this happen in 2 years. This is not going to happen next month. This is going to be a project that's going to take 6, 8, 10, maybe a year to get this system designed to do the best it can for our community. So I'm ready to act now. As an elected official, I want to act now. I want to leave this meeting tonight and say, this council approved cameras with the Cleco franchise agreement, and we moving forward to protect our citizens by putting cameras in our community. And I'm going to support this agreement tonight.
I have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
We're not voting on cameras tonight. We're voting on a contract for Cleco.
I agree,
So,
but we've committed to the money for cameras.
we're not gonna confuse the two.
Right.
Right.
You know, the two are totally separate. So, I mean, we need to get all we can out of this contract for our constituents now, paying their bills. We also talked about, you know, the street lights. Camera's not gonna do any good if you don't have a street light where you can see stuff either. You know, if we don't until we get the cameras up, we could have some lights if somebody would go and check on them like they should and maintain them the way they should. But of course, it's not written in the contract, so they're not gonna do it. So that's why it needs to be in the contract. So, safety, I think lights that are turned on, that are not burned out, would be more safe for right now until we get some cameras. And would also help once we get cameras. But this is totally not about cameras. So let's not get it twisted about that. And that's my comment.
Dustin?
Thank you.
Councilman Swear.
Appreciate that.
Sorry.
Clearing that
No,
up.
I mean, I just.
I've been nice and
You do it
quiet
every
over
time.
here, just mind my own business.
Time, man. It was all right.
First name's good.
And I call him David all the time.
Dee Dee, you call Ricky.
I'm sorry.
So,
Apologize.
we all agree, I mean, look, y'all do make great points, I understand, with the whole street light situation. District 6 has the same amount of problems. I think those are some kinks that can be worked out, honestly. But we all talk about the bills, how it's outrageous. Trust me, I'm 38 years old, father of 2. I hate cutting that check every month to you guys, but I have to. I have no choice. When you look at these, I liked how you gave us the breakdown of the municipalities and the companies, other companies out there. Would you agree that you get what you pay for? So, in other words, when you see these lower rates, go ask these people in Point Capee how fast it takes them to get their power back on, or how satisfied they are with their service. I know for a fact I'm satisfied with the service that Cleco does give. I mean, what was the time frame of when the tornadoes hit and they had power restored to Southport?
It was within a day.
That's their job.
Hospital was in.
I understand. Okay. All right. So you're right. That is their job. That's their job. But at the same time, they are giving us a good service. So I'm not going to knock them and say they're not doing what they can for us. I'm not sitting here on their side either, and it might sound like that. But like I said, you go look at these rates and you say, well, the cheapest Well, why we can't be like the cheapest and get the cheapest rate? Well, like I said, you get what you pay for. So that's basically all. I agree with Ricky. You're kicking the can down the road. No, we're not voting on cameras tonight, but we've already discussed that that's what it's going to. So, and I think we all agree that we do need it. So that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I mean, I've been sitting here quietly listening. So that was my comment. So that's it. And thank you, Willie.
So, first of all, their job is to restore our power as soon as it goes out. That's what we pay them for. So let's not act like we're not paying them to do this job.
That's not what I said.
I'm not saying,
That's
I'm
not what I
making my
said.
comment. I'm
Don't
just
twist
saying.
my words, but that's
I'm
not what
not
I
twisting
said.
your words. I'm saying, this is my comment. They are paid to restore our service. That's their job, to maintain our system, okay? That's the first thing. However, when you have a contract, you want to make sure that you get it in writing, the things that are important to yours. It's our job to make sure that for the next 25 years, we're getting the best possible service and rates. And the rate, the fact that they're charging more doesn't mean that they're providing better service. It doesn't mean that. It means they're charging more. We have no evidence that anybody in any of these other cities are unhappy with the service they're getting from their providers. We don't have any evidence of that. So let's not make that assumption that because we pay them more, we get better service. That's not true. Second, the fact is that they're making more money than any other utility company in this area. And our citizens are feeling it. Not just the regular citizens. I went to the Public Service Commissioner meeting, and guess what? People from Iberia Medical, is it Iberia Medical or General? I don't know their name. Iberia Medical was there. The guy said, he literally stood up and said that their bill went up so high that they had to do an amended budget to cover the electricity bill. So they couldn't do things that they had planned to do because they had to move money over to cover their electricity bill. So it's not just the resident, it's the commercial customers as well. We're all feeling the pinch. We're all not able to do things we were able to do before because of the higher rates. And our infrastructure isn't the best. We got lights out, we got old poles, we have no new technology. So what are we getting out of this new rate structure? We're not guaranteed anything. We're guaranteed to get what we got. And we already have that. We want better. So you ask me for more money, they want a higher rate, then let's make sure that because they got a higher rate, we're going to get something out the deal. We're going to get more than what we had before. And today, if we sign this contract the way it is today, we get nothing more than we had before, and we're paying higher rates for it. That's my comment.
That's good. Anybody else? Let's talk streetlights for a minute. I gotta start somewhere. We have not added any streetlights since I've been the mayor. Our bill is about $600,000 a year. There were times, it is what it is. There were times that citizens requested streetlights, and because of the location, maybe the subdivision had underground lines. Maybe that it was a quarter of a mile down. There were times that early on when we requested streetlights, we got a bill and decided not to do the streetlights. But there were some times that the infrastructure a transformer wasn't close enough, there was already too many lights on that circuit, or the run was longer. So we made a conscious decision that we weren't adding any more streetlights. Then Councilwoman Ledbetter, when they did that new subdivision, those apartments in your district, we made a new ordinance that said if there was development and there was investment, we would do a new streetlight. That is really the only couple of new streetlights we've added, okay? So that falls on my administration. I have no problem with that. That we did not have the money to go further with too many more streetlights because we were already paying $600,000. When you talk about streetlights being out, it falls on my administration as well because my staff takes that information that you give me off of a pole or that we go and get or that the police officers give us, and then we have to track that. I'm not very happy with the streetlight situation either. I am listening. I'm looking at all of the comments, and y'all are sending them to me. You know, I would want something better for our streetlights as well. I have no bones about that. And if I have to pick up the slack, if they have to come, I know that it's Cleco's job, and they're willing, I think, to do the major thoroughfares, and they're willing, I think, to put that in writing, and I would want that in writing. I would love them to do the whole town. I'm not gonna lie about that, because streetlights are a big deal. If I don't get the whole town that they monitor, and I have to come up with a system through Public Works or through some other agency to do it, I'm willing to do it because streetlights are important. We do have to be better at our streetlights. I don't have a disagreement of that, because you can look at my logbook and you look at the calls we get, and streetlights are important. So I hear that one. I do feel we have to do something. I don't think we're finished. I think we're just getting into it. I didn't start negotiating anything. All I did was say I'd be willing to negotiate. Now we're following a process. And then this is the first step of the process. So I didn't ask you for a list of questions for no reason. And, you know, I think that we are still talking. I didn't sign anything yet. We didn't do anything further yet. You know, we still have time to talk about it. I think that we should keep talking. And we should look for solutions. But streetlights, you know, I even said at the last meeting, you know, we get a franchise fee. We budget that money, that's $1.3 million. We collect that. You know, there well could be a time that we need to, as a council, start putting some of that money back into streetlights. There could be a time that we have, because we collect that money. That's not Cleco, you know, we get it. That 4%, I think it is?
4%.
Yes.
Yeah, so, you know, maybe we do need to look at what are we gonna do with that 4%. It's been, what we've done so far is just put it in the budget. It goes in the general fund. I'm not saying I wouldn't wanna do that with some of it, but I also feel the need to fix some issues. So if we have to say we're gonna end up taking 2% of that and putting it back into the community in some form or fashion that maybe it's the streetlights, maybe it's whatever. I mean, we can make some investment as well. So I'm not ruling that out. I realize that this is a long-term deal. I also do feel that there are things you can make a utility company do, and I think there are things you can't make a utility company do. There are things that sound really good that I'd love to see. I don't think you're gonna be able to do that. I don't think you win all the time against, no offense to you or to Cleco, I don't think you win against a big conglomerate. I think there are things that they're gonna say that's how it is. And you're not gonna, you know, we already established we can't buy them out. They own everything. They're not going anywhere. The Public Service Commissioner gives them a raise, whether we want them to or not, gives them a rate increase. The deck in some ways is stacked against us. That doesn't mean quit, but it doesn't mean we can get everything we want either. I don't think you can tell a private utility to have a social conscience. I think you can ask them to, and I think that's not a bad thing to ask them to, but you can't beat into Cleco to have a social conscience, and no offense again, you can't, it's not you personally, you can't beat Cleco into having a social conscience and say, you're gonna do this and you're gonna do that. There's rules to the game. I mean, it's some of that is not gonna happen. Some of it we can get, but you're not gonna get it all. And they operate, like I said, the state gave them a monopoly. The Public Service Commissioner said, Cleco, this is your area. All these other utility companies, they're not leaving their areas. It's a rigged thing. So I'm trying to make the best situation I can, get what I can for us. It's the biggest check, you call it whatever you want. I'm gonna take the money. You know, it's a check. And we can put that money to good use and do something good with it. So new money should do new things. Do I think the money's everything? No, we're gonna have to do a new agreement. So I wanna work through it, and I am willing to listen and willing to go through all of this. And I haven't signed anything yet. We don't have an agreement yet. This is the beginning of it, but I don't feel stopping is the way to go. I think we have to continue with it, but I also don't want to get my citizens' hopes up that we're going to change the world, that all of a sudden their rates are going to be lower. Cleco's not going to lower their rate for just us. There's no way they're going to do that. No way in the world. And they don't have to, and the Public Service Commissioner won't make them. So I just don't want false stuff out there that my citizens start thinking that, okay, my utility bill's going down. Because I don't think it is. I don't think we can pull that off. I wish we could, but I don't think you're going to. You can't just say you're going to be 6 cents and you're going to be 7 cents and the Public Service Commission is going to just roll over and say, okay. Because they're not doing that for any other community. So some of those things I don't think you can do. That's just my personal opinion.
But we can try. So we've never been in front of the Public Service Commission. We don't know of any municipality I don't know because obviously I wasn't in office, but
Right.
I don't know of any municipality that have gone in front of them because I've never done it. But maybe we start a trend. We start taking back some of our power. And we go in front of them and explain to them what's going on, show them, and hey, you might be right, but at least we put them on notice that we're going to be coming and we're going to be paying attention to what they're approving. And maybe shame on us from not paying attention when they did it the first time. I don't know when they approved this, I guess 7 years ago or something he mentioned. But the fact is that shame on us for not paying attention back then. But it's our job to speak up for our citizens. And maybe we go in front of them and say, listen, here's what you're doing. I mean, before this last election, those guys were just being reelected. But guess what? One just got unseated. So now's the time. That's right. And I get it. We're not going to get everything. That's what negotiations are about, right? We won't get everything. They're not going to get everything. But we ought to be able to get some things.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Bergeron still didn't answer my question about the addendum. He really didn't sign the addendum. You know, if we go with a standard contract like he wants to do, and the more specific things that we were talking about are written in, and they sign it, it's attached to the standard contract as part of it. And that's the part that we want to really negotiate. That's the stuff that we're talking about right now. We're not saying that we want to get everything. And like I said, we could go and ask for a decrease in front of the Public Service Commission, and that goes from lawyers making appointments with other lawyers and doing all the legal work and all of that.
You can do that no matter what you do with this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Separate thing,
definitely-
separate matter.
We can definitely do that. So, you know, that's on the table too. But I just think that in the addendum or the contract or however we choose to do it, Cleco needs to be held more accountable, you know, for maintaining those things we talked about.
That's right.
The lights and, you know, putting up lights, you know, at not a cost if there's a pole in that, those kinds of things.
Changing our bulbs to LED over
You
a
know,
period of time.
Just more, and we need to know about that. You know, if you're gonna ask for a rate increase, I think, should know about it. You know, you should send us a letter saying we're gonna go before the Public Service Commission and ask for the increase. You gotta have a public notice anyway, so why not notify the municipality about it? So we would get the heads up. And then if possible, we could all go and voice our opinion about it, you know? And I am definitely going to keep up with the Public Service Commission, because lots of things go on there. And like I said, it's live streamed on their website, so I can watch, you know, watch it from home if I can't attend. And just to know, you know, what's going on. Mr. Francis did say, come on down and visit. Yes. He definitely did say that. So we need to get more bang for our buck, we really do. And hopefully, Mayor, if it's so that we agree to this tonight, which I'm not necessarily for, I would like to see the negotiation part first before we vote for it, knowing that we're not gonna change from Cleco, we're not. That's not the issue. But we wanna get as much as we can from them, because they should give more, because we're paying more, of course. And if we don't ask for it, no, they'll never give it. They're never gonna offer it to you. And we can't go in with the idea that, no, it's not gonna happen. You know, they're not gonna agree to that. No, go in there positive, say, well, look, hey, this is what we want. Now what we gonna do about it? See, like me and Willie got eye contact and all.
Do you want him to answer the question?
Yeah.
You had me on the spot.
He's trying to hold back.
You know, just, you know, be straightforward with it. But don't go in, you know, timid and all and stuff in
Right.
the negotiation, because you pretty much said we're not gonna get it. And
No, there are some things I think we can get. There are some, I'm just not gonna promise. You know, like I said, I don't want somebody watching this thinking, hey, my rate's going down. I don't
No.
know that that's gonna happen.
No, because
I don't
this
know
isn't a
that
rate discussion.
We started this discussion that people were trying to get rid of Cleco. You know, it's not going to an election because there's nothing to vote on. We don't own it. It's too expensive for us to buy. So what I like to do is knock down the things that are never gonna happen. Get rid of those things and work on the things that are realistic. And that's all I'm saying is I don't want to defer. I don't want to quit. I want to keep going with it. I haven't signed anything yet, but my attitude is be realistic in what we're trying to achieve and go after some points. But I just am not a believer in, you don't talk, well, I have to be nice. You don't talk smack, let's say that, when it's something that you're not going to get. That's not negotiating. I've been running a business for a very, very long time. And that's not negotiating. When you talk smack and try to get things that you know you're not going to get, I don't find that that's negotiating. People don't take you serious. You're like, I know you can't have that, so why are we talking about it? So
But-
for me, I'm trying to hone down on, you know, the LED, the street lights, the things that we can have an intelligent discussion about and try to find some middle ground.
So, I hear what you're saying, Freddie. I guess for me, I don't feel like we're talking smack. I think we're trying to hold them accountable. These things
But I
are
don't
all.
mean on those issues. I
No.
just mean on the big issues of, you know, we're getting rid of them, we'll get somebody.
No,
else,
I mean,
somebody
no.
will come in.
Clearly,
Those
we know
things
that
have to
that.
stop.
Clearly, we know that we're in a situation now. It would
But it
take
seems to
longer
me
than
that's how
2
it started,
years.
you know? Yeah.
Well, I mean, because we were like, you know what? There are other people out here. But however, however,
Starting again.
no, I'm just
That
saying
just
there.
doesn't work.
What? Where's that paper? I don't even can't even
Yeah,
find it
that's
right now.
fine.
There's a list of people out here. Okay,
but
but
they're not
that's
coming.
okay. All right. So here's the thing. I still feel like we have the possibility of negotiating, getting some things that we want. So I guess my question to you would be, can we say that before this thing is signed, that it comes back in front of the council so we can review it to see what did we get?
Well, it has to come back for approval. This is just introduction.
Okay.
So my plan is to do my work. My plan
Okay.
is this is introduction. We introduce it. I didn't ask you for all of this for no reason, plus
Okay.
the ones before. I'm gonna get with this guy, because that's my guy.
Right.
Okay, that's who Cleco sent me. I'm gonna get with him and keep going, and it comes back to you. When it comes back, you're gonna know what I got and what I didn't get before you vote on it, like we do everything else.
but does it have to be at the next meeting? Do you think you would have enough time?
Yeah. It's more of the time frame.
See, that's what,
Yeah,
that was the
let me-
only thing the
I
postponement
understand.
was about.
I don't mind trying, and if I'm not satisfied with what I got, I can move it. But I would like to stay on a timeline. I don't like to just have things that, I've never been that way. I set my goal and I try to work my goal. So I wouldn't mind bringing it back, and if it's not, I'm not saying that, you know, I could call you or let you know, I could put it on my next agenda, we can set it up for the next meeting, and if I didn't get anywhere, or we didn't conclude anything, or I bring it to you and it doesn't include anything, and it's exactly what we did, exactly 1,000% before, well, then you might vote no, and you know, it's over with. Or I might say, hey, I need 2 more weeks. But I would like the opportunity to do my job and to work on it with all of your suggestions. But I just think that we should keep moving.
So, just for me, because I'm still the newbie, well, me and Brooke. I mean, this is only year 3, first term, so here's the thing. So,
Well, you don't act like.
okay, I'm gonna take that as a compliment
Yeah, I
and
mean,
move on.
that's a compliment. I mean it any other way.
Okay, so here's the thing, just so I understand the process, if we vote to move this thing forward, this is only to negotiate.
This is the introduction, and I bring you the finished deal at the next meeting, or if we move
Yeah.
in 2 weeks or whatever. Yes, this is just for me to start doing what we're doing. It's the beginning. It's the way we've done everything. Yes, Jeff?
This is not an authorization to make a deal later. Because the charter says that to renew or extend or grant a franchise, you do it by ordinance. It's a new rule. The old charter had election, the new charter has an ordinance. But what you're doing is you're actually granting the franchise in the ordinance. So you can have an addendum, you can have a contract, you can have other things outside of the ordinance. But the ordinance that you adopt tonight is pretty much what you're gonna have, okay? And the ordinance itself doesn't cover a lot of these issues, okay? But I just want to clarify that what you're doing tonight is introducing the ordinance. Then you have your usual public hearing process and your vote before you approve it. You could say, I'm not going to vote for this ordinance without this side agreement. You could say that. It's certainly permissible.
Yeah.
But the ordinance itself, what you're putting in motion now is going to be the final, whether it fails or it gets approved. But it is possible to have contracts and addendums. The Lawco agreement was different because it had an ordinance granting a franchise and it had a separate water service agreement. In the past, they've had a separate electric service agreement. There are a number of different things that happened in 2000. This one's a little bit different, but does introducing this prevent you from getting agreements on these other issues that you want? No.
Okay.
Does introducing this bind you to this? No, it comes back before the council for public hearing and a vote. This is only the first step.
Any other questions, comments?
And we're gonna do all this over again, right?
Yeah, we're not done.
What
I mean, you know,
So in 2 weeks, thank you, Jeff, for that explanation. That did help. So in 2 weeks, when you come back with,
it'll be 3 weeks because we have a bye week, or whatever you want to call it. We got an extra week. You know,
okay.
So it's 3
By the
weeks.
way, we got to talk about February 21st. That's Fat Tuesday. Anyway,
You talk about it.
okay.
February 13th is the next meeting, something like that.
7th.
Seven.
Okay. But, so, okay, so tonight, if we said, okay, we want to make sure that those other things, or some of the other things that we said, get into this ordinance. When you bring it back next, in 2 weeks, whatever, it's gonna have the changes that you were able to negotiate. We're not gonna see the exact same thing.
Yeah, you're going to get a report back from me that will be in writing, and it's going to tell you what we ended up working on, what we didn't, what can be in there, or what's another agreement, what could be an amended agreement. It's not going to be in this one. You're going to sign this one and possibly an amendment or another agreement. But yeah, you'll know exactly, my plan is to go back through all of this, to meet with that man and whoever he brings me, and to go through all of these issues and see what we can accomplish, what middle ground we can reach.
Okay, so,
I haven't done
again,
that yet.
no,
That hasn't been my time to do it yet.
okay, so, again, I'm just trying to
So
clarify it in my
I will come back to
mind.
you with something, and we'll have all, as Councilman Lewis says, we'll do all this over again, and we'll have a list to talk about, and we will talk about all of this again and see where we land.
Okay, so,
Which is the.
so why do we have to vote tonight? Why do we have to do this?
Authorization is
To introduce, and that lets me start the show.
You can't do it without an introduction.
Okay, all right, that helps.
Any of your thoughts?
So we
can
should have
be
saved this
negotiated.
for next time.
Well, no, we just do it more than once. We get better at it. It's okay. I mean, it's, you know, I don't say it's practice, but this is what we do. This council, this is what we do. We talk, and we're supposed to. We communicate.
A comment.
A lot of twists.
It's like a civics lesson every meeting.
It is.
No,
This
seriously.
is why,
I'm
this is
serious.
why it's good.
I'm not being sarcastic.
It's why it's good.
It's a good thing.
I do like it. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, I just want to say,
Yes, ma'am.
in your negotiations and all, whatever you come up with, and we see it and all, I don't want it to fail, at the next meeting, when maybe it could be negotiated further. So what I'm saying is, once you negotiate, come up with something and let us see it before it comes on to the agenda. Not placed on the agenda, but before it comes to the agenda, so that we can look at it, because we don't want it to fail. We like to vote yes.
Okay.
You know we do.
I'm not arguing with you.
So, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm enjoying that.
So,
And we've all benefited because of that.
yeah, we
as a
have.
council and as a town.
So I'm just saying, work it out, hopefully, and pass it by everybody, you know, prior to,
But no questions the day before.
no.
I think we, and I'm just picking.
Hey.
I think we got all of our
I,
questions
you know
down
what,
here,
that
okay?
don't bother me because
Well,
he
mine
said
was a
before the
whole
next
week
meeting,
in
you got him
advance.
before.
I know
Mine
it
was
was.
a
I'm
whole,
just picking on it.
mine was a whole week in advance, and I got it back Thursday.
Yes, ma'am.
So see, it wouldn't have made a
Thursday, right
difference.
before the holiday.
All right, so, yeah, I think we're on the same page.
And I actually had my ready, but I was at my computer, so I couldn't send it because I was talking to Deidre. I told her what I had, but I'm like, I'm not near my computer, so I can't send it.
It's good. I'm picking on it. So I think that that's the plan. To me, that's the way you proceed. And we work it through and you get it back. I mean, I've never done anything that I didn't bring back to you.
Be strong.
Yeah, just, I guess, don't assume that you can't get it, because,
I understand,
again,
but
you're at a
I just-
position of power because you are one of his largest municipalities.
I understand that. I just don't.
And you have
talk
power
about-
to get the other
I just don't talk a lot of
municipalities.
smack. I
No,
just
no.
don't talk a lot of smack, and I don't like to
We
say
can get
things that-
all the other municipalities behind us and get a coalition, and we can force their hand. And yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Did the other municipalities sign their
Yeah,
contracts already?
like.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Slidell did.
25
Yeah,
years.
see, like Slidell already signed theirs, and I have been looking. You
We're
gave me
talking
that
about rates,
idea
I'm talking
a
about
couple of
con-
meetings ago because
rate.
you were a rebel. And so
Yeah.
I said, man, it's a revolution. I have been looking, and many of them have signed.
Okay.
They all don't occur at the same time.
But guess what? If we're successful, I guarantee you, Cleco gonna have to negotiate next time with them as well, because they're gonna be like, you know what, we're gonna do what New Iberia did because they got a better deal for their citizens than we did. That's a fact. That's a fact.
All right.
So we're gonna take the lead. We're gonna take the charge. We're gonna show the rest of the cities in Louisiana how to do this thing.
Okay. Is there any other discussion?
I got one comment.
Yes, sir, for sure. That's why we're here.
There are no facts in negotiation. None.
All right, then. Ask you to.
I'm not
Only
sure.
for introduction.
Introduction only, right?
All right, thank you very much.
Oh, I guess he
Mr.
didn't
Bergeron,
care if I voted.
We have some work.
I hadn't pushed my button yet.
We have some work to do.
Yes, sir.
And I'll be calling you tomorrow and set something up. And let's we got a whole lot of starting points.
Can I attend?
Thank you.
And Slim,
Thank
Slim,
you.
Slim Glow and Energy and LUS, they got some nice commercials.
They sure do.
Maybe they spend all their money on
I
commercials
knew
and not
that's
infrastructure.
gonna be your response.
That's funny. All right, thank y'all. Really good discussion. And I don't know where we at. 8B. 8B. All right, here we go.
Laney
Where we
knows.
supposed to be.
Goodness
Long
gracious, I thought
night.
we were
Yeah,
gonna get out of
thank
here
God
early.
for late. 8B.
Ordinance number 2023-03, an ordinance declaring certain New Iberia Police Department vehicles as surplus and further authorizing the sale of same to a local police department at a cost not less than $25,000 in accordance with state law and setting for public hearing on February 7th, 2023.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Martin Lewis and a second by Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Is there any discussion on this item? Yes, ma'am.
Why don't we need it anymore?
We had purchased some new vehicles, and these are the surplus vehicles that we're moving off. There's gonna be one more coming
Yes.
probably in the next meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And we're using that money to rig up the new cars and buy some other equipment. So we put it, all the money goes back into the police department.
Okay, I just wanted to understand why we.
Oh,
did it.
yeah.
And Mayor Chief, are we running through some of the new cars already that we got since we started in 2018?
Yeah, we're waiting on 3 more trucks from Arsenal. And, but we have 8 brand-new SUVs that have hit the streets, a month ago?
About 2 months ago, month and a half ago.
Yeah. It's just that the car delays are it's extremely long. We're going through a process now. In fact, the mayor is aware of that. The state contract didn't come out for this year's vehicles. So there was a bid done by the city of Alexandria, and we're kind of piggybacking off of that.
Piggybacking.
But there's like when they first said that they're ordering is like a 20-week delay. And they're talking about the new cars for the new budget that we have for new vehicles not being ready till next year. So we're gonna be a year behind on new vehicles coming in, and we're ordering this budget cycle.
And we don't want to fall into the trap as other agencies, even other agencies in the city, that all the equipment got old at the same time. We realize we have to keep rotating this fleet or we're gonna stick somebody down the road. Any other discussion? Then please vote your machines. Thank you very much. 8C.
Ordinance number 2023-04, an ordinance amending sections 2 and 8-01 of the City of New Iberia Charter relative to election districts and setting for public hearing on February 7th, 2023.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas and a second by Councilman Marlon Lewis. Is there any discussion on this item? Yes, sir.
We have a map.
We have a map. And I will tell y'all that that has been a bone of contention for the last couple of weeks. And this lady right here was about to lose her mind because at one point we weren't getting a map. How can you do it without a map?
Yeah.
You can't have invisible boundaries. And she did tons of research and went back and forth, and thank you for that. I believe we got a map because of her. But we needed a map.
Because that was what my question was gonna be, can I get a map?
Well, you can't have a map, how you gonna,
Yeah, I couldn't figure that one out.
The technology that he uses is brilliant, but it's so smart that you can't tell where the lines are unless you have a map.
Right.
Because these TLID lines are boundaries of census districts. And it's a huge set of shape files that has to go to the Secretary of State and everything like that. But for people like you and me, we read this and we can't get the shape files. We don't have access to that, so it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. In the old days, they just said you went down this street, then you went to this street and this street and this street.
physical boundaries.
You know, but now we're doing this, and apparently this is the high-tech way to do it. I have not been able to verify the legal description against the map because I don't have the shape files. And Christy Blanchard has been great at the registrar's office. We sat down, we went over this. She went over with her people first. So we're going to trust Mr. Floyd to have translated the map into the shape files correctly. But we're also going to have a map.
Yes. That's great. Did we vote? No, not you. Okay. Anybody else? Well, no, I'm making sure, man. I don't want to miss them. Y'all good to vote?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I got a question.
Okay, well, come ask your question because I'm like, okay, what we doing?
Me and Marlo just looked at it, but on the map, that new piece we annexed for Loves is not on it.
We know that.
Right.
That
we
will come
discussed that
after
earlier.
because
Yeah.
it was a snapshot of that
Okay.
day.
All right.
Of
Right.
that
Sorry.
sentence.
He basically,
First.
I asked him about that early, and he basically said, that's not my job.
Yeah.
Okay.
My job is to map what you had at the time of the census.
That's a snapshot.
Now, it's not gonna be a big deal. You don't have any voters out there right now.
Right.
You know, so it's not gonna be a big voting
I was
rights
just looking for an
issue.
accurate map.
But
Yeah.
step one is
We will
gonna
have
be this. Step two is gonna be, as the mayor talked about, getting the engineer or whoever to do the new map.
Yep.
We're gonna include that. We've already brought it in as part of District 3, I think it was.
Correct.
Correct.
So,
Because that's what he said, right, Jeff, that it's gonna be connected to the closest district.
Right.
and y'all voted,
Right.
We did,
you voted it in as part of District 3.
Okay.
we did.
Any other discussion? Then I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you very much. All right, 8D.
Special ordinance number 2022-2023-07, amendment number 6, an ordinance amending the budget to roll over prior year unused appropriated funds for district projects and setting for public hearing on February 7th, 2023.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Councilwoman D. Johnson Reed, and a second, Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. This is the little bit of money that many of you have left in your districts, and it wasn't included in the new budget, and we need to spend it, so I'm rolling it over so we can use it.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments?
How much did I have again?
Sir, I believe you didn't. I think the last thing that which it came in yesterday, and it is cool. The last thing that we did is that big Martin Luther King quote, and it's ready to go up. I want to get it up for February. So, but that was the last of your funds. And I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you. They put the lags on it yesterday. I want to look at it. It looks good. All right, 80.
Special ordinance number 2022-2023-08, amendment number 7, an ordinance amending the budget to reflect change order number 3 on Civic Center Marina Phase 1 project and setting for public hearing on February 7th, 2023.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Councilwoman D. Johnson Reed and a second by Councilwoman Deidre Ledbetter. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none?
So-
Yes, ma'am. Hearing some?
Which change order is this?
That's
the
that little
one for
change
that
order for the
sign.
sign.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
Which we also gonna have some credits, and I will dog those credits to make sure that they balance out.
okay.
Anybody else? Then I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you. 8F.
Special ordinance number 2022-2023-09, amendment number 8, an ordinance amending the budget to reflect Keep Louisiana beautification grant and setting for public hearing on February 7th, 2023.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman D.D. Johnson Reed and a second by Councilman Marlon Lewis. Any discussion on this item?
So do we know how much we're getting?
These are some trees we're getting,
Oh, just the trees.
just the trees, and then we'll have to plant them.
To be planted where, or we're gonna?
We got-
Rodriguez Park, huh?
We have some that go to Rodriguez Park. There are some cypress trees that go along the bayou that finishes off that project. And then, we have another little thing that I hooked up with some other trees that, there's some small little cypress trees. And I'm buying 150 of them. They're like 1 year old. And we will nurse them along for a year before we plant them. And then they're gonna go in all the parks, just wherever. I mean, they were like $1 a piece for 150 trees. I couldn't pass that up, so, anyway. Anybody else?
Who's gonna be taking care of nursing the trees for a year?
Oh, and me. They actually, me, actually.
Johnny Cypress needs.
Yeah, I got a little spot. They gonna go to my house for a year and I'm gonna take care of them. I mean, they too small to plant. They're very cheap, but I gotta get them a little taller. You don't think our grass cutters ain't gonna whack them?
Yeah.
So I guess I'm watering trees for a year. But it's fun. No other discussion. Please vote your machine. Thank you very much. Now we have a item to add. It's right here. We'll have to do it the right way, but, this is something that I need to sign for the grant, and it would be due before our next meeting, because our meeting is 3 weeks. So I'm expanding the agenda to ask you to give me permission to sign this so that we get that grant. Is that pretty much it? That's what I thought. So, you wanna read it?
Resolution number
Yeah, let her read it, and then we'll do a
23-06,
motion.
authorizing the mayor to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement by and between the City of New Iberia and Keep Louisiana Beautiful Incorporated related to a grant received by the City of New Iberia to plant cypress trees in George Rodriguez Park.
So what I need right now is a motion to expand the agenda.
Move.
Second.
So I have a motion by Councilman Dustin Swear and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Is there any discussion to expand the agenda? And this would have to be a unanimous vote. Any discussion? Then please vote your machines. Okay, so first step done. No, we really don't, because you said vote, but
Yeah, I'm
yes,
done.
ma'am, you made a mistake, ma'am.
I did.
You don't make mistakes. Okay, now I need a motion for a public hearing. Correct?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman D. Johnson Reed and Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Is there any public comment on this item? Hearing and seeing none, would need a motion to close. Oh, we have one. Yes, sir.
Are we allowed the opportunity for things that you didn't have on the agenda previously before we came to prepare to have people come to speak to that and address that? Is there any part of our meeting set for that?
No, sir.
You know, like, you know how the parish has, you know,
We-
non-agenda.
No, sir.
items
I mean, that's not what we're talking about here either, but no, sir, no.
Okay.
We don't have that. It's, we only make comments on agenda items.
Right, but if we know it was on the agenda before we.
Yeah, no, we,
Speak on that.
yeah, no, we don't have that.
Maybe we need to inject that.
Well, this is our business meeting. Okay, back to where we were. There's no public comment on this item.
Motion to close?
Motion to close. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Second.
She's ready to go home. Councilwoman Deidre Ledbetter and
Yo.
Councilman Marlon Lewis. Thank you. No public comment. Okay, we've closed the public hearing. Now I need a motion on this.
So moved.
Second.
You don't need to read it again, huh? No, okay, we have a motion and a second. Councilwoman Deidre Ledbetter, who was the second?
Marlo.
Oh, Councilman Marlon Lewis, great. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, please vote your machines. Thank you, so now I can sign this and we get some trees.
Have fun.
Appreciate that very much. Okay, now we move on to Councilman's remarks. Councilman Marcotte.
Okay, this Saturday, Parish Councilman Marcus Broussard is hosting Coffee with the Councilperson at the McDonald's on Darby Lane, and that's gonna be from 8 a.m. till 10 a.m. I'm gonna be the special guest, so if anyone has any questions for either of us, you could just come show up, have some coffee, and we can discuss whatever you want. And then the following weekend, on Saturday, the 28th, I'm doing another litter pickup in my district. We are going to actually do mulching as well. If anyone wants to help out, that'd be great. And this is gonna be at Daspit Elementary. So we're gonna pick up litter in the neighborhood and then also do the mulching around the play sets. They just got a whole bunch of mulching, so if anyone has like an hour or so to come and help out, that'd be fun for y'all to come. There should be several students there as well, getting service hours, so they're gonna be helping us out as well, and their parents. That's all I have for today.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think Miss Sandra's supposed to do
Yeah,
that.
she. Yes, sir.
Well, happy belated Martin Luther King holiday to everyone out there. I hope y'all had a good time and did a day of service. Man, I am heartbroken and hurt, over some of our recent events of violence and so on. And, Ms. Will Turner is right. We need to take action, as a community. And all I can say is that, my condolences go out to the families. And I know that we need to stay on task and be looking for ways and ideas to kind of, divert, our challenges, our youth challenges. It's just, it's heart-wrenching, man, so I just wanted to comment on that, but that's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, as of 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, Loves is officially a corporate citizen of the city of Iberia. They are signing the deal tomorrow for the property you guys annexed. So they are a corporate citizen of New Iberia and look forward to the things they're gonna bring to the community. Now, I need a ethics question from my attorney that now that Loves owns their property, am I clear to vote on anything moving forward? So just answer that later.
So you no longer have a lease on that property,
Nope,
right?
Nope, as of tomorrow.
I think you're clear, yeah.
Just want to make a note of that.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to, I hope that everybody had a good holiday on yesterday and did possibly a day of service if you weren't able to attend any programs. They had a lot of them this weekend. And of course, on yesterday too. And we never need to forget about why we celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Because civil rights is important to all of us. It's what makes America, America, and we should not ever forget that. We can have our differences, which we have up here and all, but in the end, we should all be looked at and valued the same. So just keep that in mind, and we definitely keep it up here. We always civil to each other, and we, like we say, we have differences of opinion, but, we come together to do what's right, and that's what it's all about. Thank you.
Thank you. Amen. Amen to that. Yes, ma'am.
Well, one, I wanted to remind everybody that this Saturday, January 21st, from 9 to 12, at the Masonic, the Downtown Neighborhood Association is going to be helping people fill out the paperwork for weatherization. So if you are a resident, and actually even if you live outside of the city of New Iberia, it doesn't matter. We want you to come and get your houses weatherized because the Louisiana Housing Corporation has received an additional $30 million to weatherize houses in not in just New Iberia, in Louisiana. It'd been nice, right? Yeah. Let me not make that mistake. In Louisiana. So let's take advantage. These are our tax dollars at work. Let's take advantage of that. Let's, come out. Let's get your houses weatherized. The great thing about this program is that you don't have to find a contractor. They will come out and they will do the work. And they have their own contractors. And on average, they spend about $6,500 per house. So they do a lot of great things, so please come out this Saturday. If you haven't had your house weatherized in the last 15 years, please come out this Saturday at the Masonic from 9 to 12. If you have had your house weatherized by St. Mary Community Action, it's okay. Come out. We'll put your name on the list. We'll have Cleco come out there and do what they do. Okay, so we have programs for even the people that actually have gone through the program in the last 15 years, because I know 15 years is a long time. Things change. It may not be as much as you got the first time around, but Cleco will come out and do some things to help weatherize your house. Second thing is that on February 2nd, we're going to have a home buyers session at the Slyman Theater at 5 o'clock from 5 to 6:30 with Louisiana Housing Corporation. They're going to come out and talk to people who never own a house, who really want to, own their own home. They're going to talk about the down payment assistance that is available in Louisiana. They'll talk about, how you can get a house with no closing costs, and all these different programs that they have that are available for people who want to own a home but maybe thought it was outside of their reach. So please come out on February 2nd at 5 o'clock at the Slyman Theater and learn how you can become a homeowner, because the only way we're going to rebuild our communities is if the people who live there build or buy new homes and put them back in our community, so we could actually see a change in our communities. So please come out. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
The only thing I have to say is, I agree with you 100%. We do have a difference in opinion up here, but at the end of the day, we still respect each other, and that's what matters the most. Because the end goal is doing what's right for the city. So, thank you, that's it.
I got a couple. Taking a playbook from Councilwoman Marcotte, I'm going to talk about Pelicans, okay? We know that we were having issues. We know that in some ways they dropped the ball. That's not acceptable. We have a contract. It's a new contract. I figured that the first 90 days was a transition time, but our transition was not going well. The month of December was terrible. So I communicated with the owners. We got the reps in my office. We got the owner in my office twice, 2 different occasions. We got our city attorney there on one of the occasions, and they came up with an action plan. I can say that last week went very much better. We now have the 5 trucks constantly that the contract calls for. What happened was a local manager said, boy, they finishing on time in November. I'm going to take 2 trucks and send them to another community. So we didn't have, and the owner didn't know that we didn't have 5 trucks all the time. We also have done something that is neat. When they pick up the recycling, they put magnetic recycling signs on the truck. That is for recycling. When that truck empties out, they're having time now to take those recycling signs off, come back and add to the garbage pickup. So that's on time. We have the right number of loaders. We finally have the log is clear with Amber of cans, finally. We still have people, and if you need a recycling can or you want to buy a second can, call my office and get on the list. But the cans that were finally lagging, they're out. We were having problems with the city provided. They provide us a certain amount of dumpsters for our different city locations. They were not being picked up on time. That is being handled now. They moved around some staff and got another customer service rep here, someone that had experience. They also traded some drivers and got some more experienced, seasoned drivers, because as a new contract, they were trying all new drivers. Well, all new drivers weren't getting it. Now they have brought in some, more professional, or drivers who are just more seasoned. So the combination of those things, I am hoping, praying, and wishing all at the same time that we see a difference. We have a stack. I gave them to you. Our staff does a great job of documenting all of their errors and all of their omissions, because I can find them for that. I left the handle sticking up of the axe and said, if you mess up again, I'm pulling it back out the ground and I'm finding you. Right now, we're saying, you get your act together and you provide the service that the contract calls for, we're good. But I wanted to have that documentation and put it in their hand. So I wanted to give you a little report that I think you'll see a big difference, and we will certainly stay on top of it. I have one more item. We had a lot of discussions about the dog situation. The dog
Can I add one more
catcher.
thing for the?
Yeah, sure.
On the
Sure.
on the recycling, I know in the beginning we said that was going to be picked up every week, but it is every
It's
other week.
And we have the schedule, it's online, and it's every other week. The only thing that changed was the yard debris, bulky waste became every week.
Right.
But the recycling in the contract was always every 2 weeks, but it is posted on the city's website, because you're right, there was some confusion about it.
Yeah, because it's on the paper that it was every week and that went out to the residents.
It was on that
Yes.
paper.
And
That
so,
was a
yeah,
mistake
yeah,
by
people
Pelican.
were calling and asking me, why isn't my recycling being
Yes.
picked up? Even mine, I was like, hey, Freddie, mine didn't get picked up.
I know, I
Actually,
know.
I told
Yeah.
them every week, 'cause that's what I read.
Me too.
Oh, I did the same thing,
Exactly.
so-
That's what I was telling people. So
That's
I wanted
correct,
us to
and
make
thank
sure
you
we
for
make
that.
that, we
Thank you for
clarify
that.
that.
The other issue that we had with the parish, and I don't want to rehash everything in any kind of negative way, but, you know, the parish sent us a letter and said we're no longer going to be a dog catcher as of February 28th. We had to do something. We are taking steps at what we're going to do. We negotiated, and it was a very interesting negotiation. We have picked up some services. We now have, remember, we had 7 kennels, which certainly was not enough. We now have 15 kennels reserved, all right, at $7,800 a kennel per year. We have 5 cat kennels that we didn't have before, so now we have 20 kennels. We are paying half the salary of a parish employee, a new employee, who will only be assigned to the city. That lets them build a rapport with the police department, lets them build a rapport with our community, with our dogs, and so we are gonna pay half of that, and they're gonna hire a person who will only handle the city. So that comes to a total of $171,000. Okay, if you remember, at one time we paid $21,000 and we had 7 kennels, but we really didn't get a lot of service. Then we went to $91,000 and we got better service, but then the parish decided that that was unworkable. So in our negotiations, we have a 2-year contract. So this will go on, no outs. This will go on for 24 months, and we will see how this works. The parish does plan at some point in the future, I can't speak for the parish, but they are at least investigating building a new shelter. Well, if you look at these new totals, we would be 20% of that shelter. So if we have 20 kennels, so if they build 100 kennels, we'd have 20%. I fully anticipate that if that happens in the next few years, we will put up 20% of the money, and that was something that we talked about early on that I really, you know, had to digest. We would put up 20% of the money to go toward those improvements, and still end up paying. We will probably pay this forever, but it's a workable solution, I think. I think the idea of having boots on the ground of someone who is only responsible for the city goes a long way. So we negotiated this. We had parish councilmen on the call. We had city councilmen on the call. We had the 2 attorneys, and it was a Zoom call, and it was very interesting. So it was
zoo call.
Yeah, it was very fun. But and we had a parish councilman who came on the Zoom call with us. So that was interesting. Anyway, so and Ricky was there. Thank you for coming. So I wanted to just give you an update on that and on Pelicans.
And
Can I
that
ask a
agreement is
question?
coming before the council.
And that agreement will certainly come before the council. So I think it's a step in the right direction. With
Can I
that,
ask a question?
yeah, sure.
So we're gonna have a person that's dedicated, but what if, does that mean that if they need help, they're not gonna be, I mean, will we be able to get like a
Yeah,
second
I
person
think-
to
yeah,
come
I think
out? Because, you know,
Right,
we got a
they'll-
problem, so we gonna need more than one person to pick up
And we could,
dogs
and I think
everywhere.
that they will be responsible for that. But the good thing is we have a dedicated person all the time. And I
Right.
think that once we get some of our harsher areas under control, where, like when we were walking, we you know, I can go name the streets that we would see 4 and 5 dogs every time. I think once we get kind of the bulk of that under control, that one person will certainly be able to handle it.
I think in the conversation, I think Dee Dee hit the thing from what I gathered is that the whole problem was staffing.
Yeah.
They couldn't just, didn't have enough people.
Okay.
And that's what I gathered, so I think that's really a workable solution.
Yeah, so. Anyway, that was my remarks, and next council meeting's February 7th. And with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Thank you.